Welcome back to the Tanner Vance Show. It's me, Tanner. This time around, well, I haven't posted in a minute, and I admit that. I have also been working on the side on a couple different projects. One of them is moving, and that's always exciting and fun and scary and all of that combined. But so there's that, and then on top of it all, I've been trying to kind of roll out my other projects as well. I was doing some filming, some skits, which leads into what was talked about a lot this episode. I brought Dustyn back on because in lieu of not having posted in a minute, I wanted to have a good, light, easy, fun one, and Dustyn's always easy to get on the show, good to talk to, good to laugh with, so we just pitched ideas back and forth, like I said, in lieu of me doing some filming and trying to write up some skits and do all that funny stuff. We just threw ideas off each other, sometimes had serious conversations, sometimes just talked about, I think at some point we talked about what we do if the apocalypse hit. So I hope you enjoy it. I had a lot of fun making it. It was always good to talk to Dustyn. You know what? I know you're going to enjoy it too. How about that? There's no question about it. Don't worry about it. Just I'll shut up and you listen to the episode. It's going to be great. So without further ado, welcome back, Dustyn Kamensky. Ah!
So this man has put his house for sale, and the realtor is coming over to show the house to a couple, and he thinks that he has enough time to take a crap before they show up to the house. Turns out he doesn't. So, so he goes in the bathroom, he absolutely destroys it, turns on the fart fan, and right when he flushed the toilet, there's a knock at the door. Well, the only thing is that the front door is right next to the bathroom. So when he opens the door and he's like, "Hi guys, welcome to my house," the realtor's like, "Well, let's start with the bathroom," and they go in there and it absolutely is destroyed. And then he's like, "But it's a good neighborhood." After these guys are dry heaving in his bathroom. Very simple. That's like an opener. You open it up with that one.
I was gonna say you scared me though at first because I thought it was gonna be like guy about to lose his virginity. Lights come on, he's in the morgue, and I was like, I don't know.
No, that's not bad. That's not bad.
Write that down.
Write that down. Yeah. Let me get my secretary on that.
Yeah. Come on.
But no, that's just like a little small, very short opening sketch of something.
Well, yeah, I almost think of you'd want a little funny skit in the between two bigger ones or something like that.
Exactly, because there's not a whole lot. You can't go a whole lot further with an idea like that as far as a skit. So it basically starts and ends the same way that it's said. You know what I mean? You could try to drag it on, but is the humor still going to be there? Probably not.
It's basically a poop joke.
Yeah. Exactly. You can't drag a poop joke out for an entire 20 minutes or it's not going to be funny at the end of it. I feel like there's certain jokes that you just got to say and be done with, and if you try to drag it on, there's probably a reason why you feel like you're dragging it on. It's because it should have ended a while ago.
Well, I think back to lots of skits that I've seen, whether it was Key and Peele or Whitest Kids You Know, and I'm pretty sure I've talked about them a ton. But
oh yeah,
it's because they were those were awesome influences to me. So of course, obviously I look up to those. But there's some skits I remember just watching, and it's I wish that they would just end, or they had ended it forever ago. You can just feel it.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of them that I watch. I feel like, and I'm not trying to talk any smack, but I feel like mostly some of the Key and Peele sketches. Once you get to a certain point into it, you're like, it's done. It's over. Or, and then they drag it on to where by the time that it ends, you're not laughing anymore.
Yeah. You're kind of just nodding along. You're like,
yeah. You're like, you just shrug your shoulders at it and you're like, all right, whatever. You know what I mean? But I did my laughing a minute ago, 2 minutes ago. You know,
Mm.
it should have ended at the laugh, the punchline. You know,
Yeah, you shouldn't be regretful that it went on. Like, you don't want to walk away with that, which is why some of those short skits, I'm totally okay with short skits. So,
right?
but the long ones, I am still afraid of that dragging on. I'm like, because sometimes I think I got some good jokes to tell, but maybe they aren't actually as good as I thought they were going to be, or something, and then it ends up, I don't know, it just feels like it's dragging on.
Well, there's a defined difference between something that you think and then actually trying to put it into a joke. That's what I've learned. Because like in my head, you know, I'm thinking about jokes all the time, just in everyday stuff. Like, oh, that'd be funny. This would be funny. But then I'm like, well, how would you deliver that as a joke? And then I'm like, well, you know, and then I'm trying to put a twist on it to make it make sense.
How can you make it palatable?
Because like I've seen something that I thought was funny. The only difference is that not everybody has seen something like that. So they don't have that visual to then relate to it being funny.
How do you communicate that to everyone else?
So then you need to put it's like almost like a book. It's got to have a beginning, middle, and end. The beginning is setting it up for the joke, because some things, like I said, some people can't share that experience with you. So you have to set it up, you know, go into it, and then end it.
Well,
what's really funny to me is when you have somebody that shares a lot of the same experiences, so you don't have to do that beginning part because they already know.
Right. I was thinking of also like punchlines. Like, it's kind of almost like equate it to like when you've probably talked to someone like this before, where there's not like a point to their story. There's no climax. Like, and there's some people maybe you think they're being like, they think this is some funny little thing that happened to them. Like, they just got to tell you about this funny thing their kid did. But really, it's just a story about something they witnessed, and there's no punchline. You're like waiting for what's the point of me listening to it?
Oh, this is so funny. And you know why it's funny is to them is because they witnessed it.
Yeah.
You have to be the difference. There. Yeah. That's the difference. There's some things that you just have to be there for something in order to find the true humor in it. But some things you actually can tell like a book. Give a little bit of a beginning to, you know, lead them into the joke, middle, end, punchline, end. You know?
Right.
But if you don't have that experience to share, it's almost like, what's the point? Because how are you going to set it up in a way that makes sense to everybody without making the beginning drag on forever?
Well, I think you can. Like, it's, I mean, like anyone who makes a joke, they're making a joke about, I don't know, some take on real life. But like, you can dress, but you know, they dress it up. You tell the story in a way that there's a climate. But if you don't, like, for me, there's just something in my head that I know you're just rambling if you just talk. If there's no point, there's no climax to it, like you were just mentioning. But if you can't twist that before you say it into something that it would be interesting for someone else, don't be an asshole and bore them with your just bland story of you telling me of some experience you had, because I'm sorry, this makes me sound like an asshole. I don't care.
Right.
Like,
right. And especially if you started off as, oh, this is funny, or you're going to like this.
Yeah.
In that sense, you should start it out as like, you'll never guess what my piece of shit kid did the other day. Or you know
let me know that it's going to suck from the get-go.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's all about how you begin it and then you deliver it. The middle is kind of open for interpretation, you know, because the middle could be whatever you want it to be, but it has to make sense from the beginning to the end, or else it's in my eyes, it's not a joke anymore. It's a story.
Yeah, and then jokes and that, are different that way. And that it's like the way I see it is, especially like when I am thinking of skits in my head, I have to think of something like what you just mentioned. If there was something funny that you think in your head, how do I translate that out? Which is why I've thrown some skits away, because I'm like, oh, that was like a passing funny thought in my head. But to actually execute that would either probably come off as stupid, or I don't really know what the punchline is. So, and I've worked with it, I don't even know. So I may as well just trash the thing and I'll go work on something else.
Well, and seeing, does this make sense that a really good joke, you almost don't even need a middle to it, right? Beginning.
How do you figure?
Well, I don't know. Just like, okay, so like Anthony Jeselnik, I'm guessing you've seen some of his stand up or heard of some of
Mm,
it. He
yeah.
doesn't really have a middle to his stuff. You know, like he had a joke as like, you know, oh, my cat's been sleeping real good lately. And then like people will be like, "What?" And then you're like, "Yeah, he's been dead for 2 years," or you know, so, like something basically like there is no middle. It's like beginning, punchline.
Yeah, well, it's like that one's especially for like shock value. So it's
Well,
like,
yeah, because
yeah,
your mind's going one way with what you're gonna say, and then all of a sudden you take it off on a detour. Then
boom, curveball.
that's what makes it funny is that
Hmm.
curveball. But you know, if you really have to explain yourself on a joke, is it funny? I don't know. You know, you can do it, but is it worth the time of listening to it? I don't know.
No one
You know,
can. Not everyone's as funny as we are, Dustin. We just have to accept
oh,
that.
yeah, I know. To all you guys listening, you could be funny, but I wouldn't count on
Yeah, run it
it.
by some people and run it by people who aren't
Yeah.
assholes.
If
Run it by an
somebody
asshole.
if somebody that you think is not funny laughs at one of your jokes, I'd probably become a lawyer. So-
Oh shit. Well, yeah, and also for anyone you're listening, we've been talking about skits already before we were recording this. So, because I know I mean, I think we even talked about this on the last episode you were on. You know, we talked about comedy and what we would do to make it like our interest in it a little bit. And so I think to this day we still run skit ideas off each other because you're really good at bouncing those off of. Like, I get feedback. I don't just like I don't want to just hear, yeah, that's funny.
no, because
I-
it's like I
Is
could
it though?
I could have said that pitch to the wall and I would have got basically the same response.
Yeah, that's not the feedback I need.
No. You're like, well, maybe this or maybe that, and then you know it goes from there, and then it might turn into a completely different scenario, which sometimes it does. I want to say most of the time, from the original pitch to what we end with after brainstorming and just collaborating about it, it ends as something different,
Mm-hmm.
and it ends
Well,
as something better.
it's
You
kind of
know?
like when we bounce. Like if I throw something at you and you're like, if it makes you laugh and then you can add to that, then that's like hypes me up. And then I'm like, yeah, yeah. And then you're like, okay. And then you throw out another scenario, and then it's just bouncing back and forth. And then that's the kind of feedback I need, because then if it starts out good and you laugh to it, and then it could go somewhere, even if it goes somewhere different. But if I
Yeah.
just throw it at you and you're kind of like,
Well, then it's time to
Then it
move on to
dies.
a different
Yeah.
sketch. Yeah, yeah. So, pitch me one that you wrote down. Let's see what we
Shit.
can make with this. Let's do some brainstorming.
okay, well, I could, off the top of my head, I'm thinking of one that me and Amanda, when she came and visited, we wrote down. It was something along the lines of, you know, how Trump's been talking about banning TikTok, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. We won't get into that too incredibly crazy because I know a lot of you white chicks out there are gonna lose your job.
You 13-year-old girls are gonna kill themselves.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what to do with my life. College isn't an answer. Like,
Well,
but it
and
is,
this is-
Susie.
yeah, but you'd be surprised how many of these, like some of those kids that are like, I think like with the highest viewed TikTok personality is a 16-year-old. Like there's
Well,
fucking 16-year-olds that have careers off that shit.
Yeah, and they have more money
'em.
than most people. Yeah, fuck you guys. Put that money into a savings account and then go to school or so. You know what I mean?
I guess
You
if
know,
it's working for them, but
Well, no,
I've-
good for you. You know, obviously you're doing something right. Am I jealous? Possibly, because
is this
TikTok
born out of
was
jealousy?
TikTok was not a thing when we were like 13 to 16, and I wish that it was, because maybe we'd be millionaires right now.
But we had Vine. We had Vine though.
By the time we were like 17, you know,
Yeah.
at that point I was in college already. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I don't know. Plus, I didn't ever think about it. Like, I wasn't hip with the platforms then. Like,
No.
how could I vent these ideas?
But most of the vines were done by that one group of friends. We're like that one group of friends was like the most viewed, you know, Vine
A lot of them
people on the internet, and then like that's basically all that I came across.
I think
for
a lot of them
long
though became friends because they got big on Vine, and
Yeah.
Vine was trying to grow, and
Maybe-
then Vine fucking collapsed.
Maybe you're right, yeah. And then that brings me to another point. You know, everything has a beginning and an end. So what happens when TikTok ends? You know, like Vines, nobody would have thought that Vine was just one day gonna stop.
Right? Yeah.
But it
So
did.
what happens when that goes? TikTok goes away.
Yeah,
That's-
what's plan B?
That was part of my joke, though. Was okay. So like Amanda thought of them like having a mass suicide, but I thought maybe they just start doing it in person. Like you just saw kids on the street corner watching some other like dumb teenager lip sync, and they're just like, "Yeah." I don't know.
Like do a live stream of a TikTok and then blow their brains out or something. I mean, you know, suicide's not funny, people. Like, don't commit suicide, but you can make jokes about it, but just don't do it. You know.
Disclaimer, yeah. Yeah, so that was my whole joke. I know we went off on a little tangent there, which that's totally awesome. But yeah, it was something about TikTok, like exactly like you said. What happens when that ends? Like, what if Trump does? I don't know. I think I've already kind of mentioned the possibilities there, but I don't know what else you add to it necessarily.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't know this was a dictatorship and you could just ban whatever you didn't like, but all right. Like, do I agree with that? No. You know, I mean, this is a free country, you know, let people do what they want to do, but.
Filthy Chinese ruined it for everybody.
Yeah, those little Asian people, they do TikTok better than us. So it's bound to make somebody jealous.
You racist. What do you got?
Oh, gosh. All right. Well, this one's going to be... I got a couple of them that are going to be very, very controversial.
Don't hype me up if they aren't controversial.
Do you want extra controversial or slightly controversial?
Let's see what slightly controversial looks like.
All right. You asked for it.
I'll gauge.
All right.
You wanted to say it.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to be asked. You know, I'm glad.
I'm confirmation.
Glad, I'm glad to be heard. So Asian neighbor. So you have an Asian neighbor, because I'm not gonna spit it as it's written, but so you have an you have an Asian neighbor. Okay, well, so first off, okay, sorry, let me start over. So first off, your cat goes missing, and you're possibly in a tight little community or something like that. So your cat goes missing, and you're going door to door trying to find your cat, because I know pet love is real. All right, it is. Right. My cat went missing, and I was out in almost 10 below in a robe and flip flops trying to find my cat.
Absolutely.
And, it happens. And little guy had somehow snuck into the house while I was out looking for him. When I came in, like almost frostbitten to all shit, he was sleeping on the couch in the warm 70-degree house.
So he watched. He's like, "That's my little bitch."
Yeah, he watched me leave. Yeah, and he's like, "Fuck you, asshole." Yeah, but okay. So yeah, your cat goes missing. So you're starting to go door to door, just knocking on your neighbors' doors, just be like, "Have you seen my cat?" And they're like, one neighbor points you down the street, and you go down there, and you're like, knock, knock, knock. A little like Asian chick answers the door, and you're you're like.
God damn it.
You're like, have you seen my cat? And she's in the middle of cooking dinner. So when she opens the door, you're like, damn, that smells good. And then you're like, have you seen my cat? And you show her a picture of it, of your cat. And she's like, no, I've never seen him. And then you like look over on the table and there's your cat's collar with his ID sitting there. And you're like, are you sure? Because that's his cat ID. And she's like, just like, no, I haven't seen him. And slams the door in your face. And then when you're walking away, you're like, I don't know what she's cooking, but that smells delicious.
Oh my God. Wouldn't it be funny if like you suspected them, like you opened up one of the neighbors' doors, and it's like an apartment complex, and someone opens the door, it's an Asian neighbor, and you're like all suspicious.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you sure you haven't seen them? And
no,
you're like,
they're like looking at the like.
Can I come look around?
Yeah, are you sure? 'Cause I can smell my cat. Like I know what he smells like.
And then right behind him, like you kind of get like it kind of gets intense, and then like behind you, one of the other neighbors walks up. This white guy, here's your cat. And you're like,
And I'm
oh,
well, yeah, It wasn't
I'm
actually
very sorry.
It wasn't actually going to end with the Asian neighbor actually eating my cat, but it's like that suspicion that's like almost stereotype, if you will. So yeah, that is a perfect ending. I didn't get that far with it. You know, I just like had an idea and like wrote it down. But that is a perfect like ending to that. Is your friend was like, "Hey, dude, yeah, I found he was down at the shelter," and I'm like, "Oh," and the neighbors just like staring at me, and I'm like, "Well," and again, I've said this before. Whatever you were cooking smells delicious. Like,
your house is lovely.
Yeah, I love the decor. Yeah.
Have a good evening. Goodbye. Yeah, there you go. Something like that. I don't know. That's you pitched it to me. I threw it back.
Yeah. Good morning, good evening, and good night. Yeah.
There you go. It's okay. I have this other. I don't even know. I didn't really flesh it out, but it was like, if I could just sum it up, picking up a trans hooker, or you're picking up a hooker. It turns out it's like your dad in drag, and then they just have like a heartfelt talk, but at the end, like you see the fucking car shaking.
So you pull up and you get this hooker in your car, and it's pitch dark, and then you make it to like you pull over and park, and you're like, all right, so how much? And then you like drop something like in between the door and your seat, so you're like, oh, hold on, like your wallet or something when you're trying to get some cash out. So you like try to open the door, and the light turns on. And then your dad's like, son, and you're like, dad, or something like that. Yeah. And it turns into heartfelt, like, Dad, I didn't know you were trans. And he's like, son, I've been unhappy for a long, long time.
I'm in my
you hear the piano.
Skin.
You hear the piano music kicking in. And then it like pans out like Full House, like you learned a lesson. And then all of a sudden, after the credits, it cuts back into the car and it's just shaking back and forth. You need some Full House music in that, yeah. So that it seems like you learned a lesson of sorts, but then in the reality, like no, you fucking didn't.
Part of a sitcom.
Yeah, yeah. Back to trans and dad, I don't know.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Am I trans? Probably.
If you have to ask, you might be. Yeah, I don't know. That was some fucked up little skit I thought. That's what I'm thinking of, I guess, during my days.
If you're not thinking about trans dads and sons while you're working, you're not doing something right.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm going to start this next one with, how many disciples were there?
12, right?
Shit, I don't know. I'm not religious. Why do you think I asked? What did we say before about if you have to ask, you probably,
Yeah. He doesn't know.
So this next one is about Jesus started by guys who were friends, tired of being mistreated, and decided to give parentheses, Jesus, LSD, and went around making the, parentheses, rules of God so they would be respected and get money.
So it's
profiting off of the poor that don't know what's going on.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So you're thinking
that's the extra controversial one I was talking about.
Oh, you were more afraid of pissing off the Christians than you were the Asians.
Yeah,
no,
shit, dude. Yeah. I'm surrounded by Christians, not Asians.
The Christians will start the mob for you, or the one that gets you.
The Asians, they'll get mad at you, but full-blown religion, man, that has started so many wars.
True. So you're thinking in that one, what if they're like it's like Jesus and his friends in a room, and they're just like coming up with shit. And they're like, oh, that's a good idea. Write that down.
Yeah.
They're just like scheming.
Yeah. And then you have to, if you come to see me, you have to give a donation, and then that'll go straight into our pockets.
It's a nonprofit he started.
Yeah, it's a nonprofit. Yeah, although he's profiting, or you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I don't know, like, that could go so many different ways, though, too, because then they're like, like, let's say the one guy was,
Jesus Christ.
Was like raped. You know, the one guy just walking down an alley, he got raped by this big old freaking Greek dude or whatever. I don't know. I'm not religious, but or Roman dude or what, I don't know. And then he puts in there, you know, thou shalt not harm or whatever the hell it is. And then you know what I mean? Because like he has a flashback while they're going over like the rules of Jesus or, you know, the rules of man. And he has a flashback to when he got beat up for his milk money or so, you know, and he's like, thou shalt not hurt thy neighbor or what.
or he's like writing stuff down, like everyone's pitching ideas, and so one of them's like, yeah, and you shouldn't harm people, and or like you shouldn't like rape people or what, I don't even know. And then like Jesus just looks like writing it down. He's just like, listen, Paul, everyone knows, or this is about you walking past that alleyway every night. We'll talk to you about this before.
Yeah. He's like, people shouldn't get raped, and Jesus is like, let's just put something about not harming each other. All right, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah, and then somebody else is like, did you just use your name like that? And he's like, yeah, don't use my name in vain, or you know.
Only I can.
Jesus Christ, yeah. All right, don't you do that. That's my name, not yours, you know, and then...
It's just weird of you to say that out loud, my name like that.
And then here we are.
Okay, yeah.
And this is society as we know it.
Would you ever... See, this is what I'm dealing with right now, is I finally am trying to kick off these other projects I've started. I've been slacking recently in the podcast department, because I've been kind of trying to kickstart these other projects I've been going on, like the film. Because I like I told you before, I think I have it now where I can start filming the skits that I always talked about filming. And it's just mostly, it's all just going to be me. So that kind of, I have to also consider in all filming, it's all me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so you could be Paul, and I'll be the guy that rapes said Paul in that skit during the flashback.
Well, why aren't you Paul?
Buddy. Because I don't want to be Paul.
Yeah.
I'm not the raped. I'm the
You made me
rapist.
Paul last time.
Yeah, Tanner, we weren't going to talk about that.
God damn it.
But anyway, your projects and whatnot. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's only you.
It's only me, so it's gonna be like that. Hinders me a little bit right now, but I like that idea too. I like the whole like filming. It's kind of like reminds me of what I'm doing of early days Shane Dawson shit. I like that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I did too. I think everybody could somewhat appreciate the Shane Dawson stuff.
No worries. I just decided I'm going to cut that. I was like, I'm just going to cut that. That'll be easier.
Sorry. I know that Bryce is trying to go to bed and whatnot, so she shut the door to the sunroom, but the only difference is that's where the AC is. So I'm like sweating my fucking ass off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, selfish bitch.
Yeah, no shit.
But yeah, well, I just decided, I was like, yeah, it would be easier if I'm just going to go in and cut that. So
yeah, I come back and you're just like, and I just don't know why.
Some days are just harder than others, but I can't do this. Oh, sorry. I didn't hear a word you said.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You know what? Never mind. Let's just have a commercial break.
Yeah, let's go to commercial. Man, that's why I would really wish that my podcast would like kick off in an amazing way, and then I could start doing ad reads, because I just want to make jokes. Like, they've got like I want to like advertise for Manscaping, the Manscaped shit, the pube trimmers.
Yeah. No chick wants to see. You could think, you could make a bunch of stuff about that. Like the whole, like, if you get the Manscaped commercial thing, you could make a joke about how, like, you thought your dick was small. No, it just turns out you had 90% bush, 10% dick.
Clean that up and reveal yourself.
Yeah, you're still small, but now it looks a little better.
See, I would just do it, especially like if they were just like a constant sponsor. I would just keep talking about that. Like, I would just do different jokes all the time. Like, then after that, then my next Manscaping joke would be something along the lines of like, your girlfriend's been wanting to put her pinky in your butthole, but she's been hesitating because she doesn't know what's up there. But now
she can see clearly.
Yeah,
the rain is gone.
Now she knows where to aim.
Yeah. She
something
kept
along those lines.
She kept trying to poke it, but she was just pushing on taint. Now,
Yeah.
you don't have that issue.
X marks the spot, if you know what I mean. See,
yeah. The
God damn it.
starfish equals the land of the lost.
You could see there's so many.
Bullseye.
Man, if only I could get. I gotta like just start doing crazy shit. Like that was something interesting when I talked to like Shane about advertising, like him said, like talking about back in the day, people passing out their CDs, trying to get their like bands out there and stuff like that. I was like, how does that work out today? I think maybe I should just go around and put posters everywhere. Maybe I don't end up in jail for vandalism.
Yeah, the Tanner Vance show. Or you know what? To make that better, you could do like the old Cheech and Chong type thing, where you like do a recording of these skits, you burn them to a CD, and then you go out and hand out the CDs or something.
But who has CD players anymore?
Well, I guess that's a decent point. They're not going to be walking around with it, like we did, with their headset on and a big old CD player in their pocket. But vehicles still have CD players. You know what I mean?
True. There's some that they're not even adding them.
Computers, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. There are some
or most computers.
Well, yeah, and it depends. Like me, I've always just lived like since I've been an adult, walked away with my laptop and a phone. What now? I have like an iPad, but I've always just had devices that. Like if you handed me a CD, I wouldn't even know what to do with it. I think I could put it into my PlayStation and maybe play it. I'm sure that still works.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to do something somewhere. I mean, I don't know. You could do a recording of your stuff and then post it to Instagram or Twitter, or you know what I mean, as like a playlist of these sketches or something. But
like a little excerpt, a funny whatever.
Yeah,
just friend fucking something. Everybody on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, shit, I don't know. I've had famous people add me on Instagram just so that I'd follow them back, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Just to get their own, some MMA fighter from Germany freaking sent me a friend request and liked one of my pictures, and then I was like, oh, yeah, I love MMA, so I started following him.
Yeah. You helped him out. Yeah, well, that's how you have to do anything anymore, is social media. Like, that's how everyone else does it. And there's some of them, like, that's how they sell tickets to things, or that's how they communicate with their fans and shit like that. That's like the way you have to do it is social media now. Which, man, I guess it makes it easy. You can just do it from the comfort of your couch. But at the same time, I don't know. I guess it depends. Not everyone's going to click on it, though, or go to see it. But
it has to be flashy. Or it's easy to scroll right by.
I need a marketing department.
Apparently. Heck, I could be, for one quick and easy blowjob, I'll take the job.
Well,
I'll be your head of marketing.
That's a pretty steep price.
Whatever. What does job to be famous? Come on, man. That's easy.
That was give him the old Harvey Weinstein.
Weinstein
offer.
Yeah, exactly. That was a once in a lifetime offer, Tanner, and you pissed on it. So enjoy never being famous.
What does one blowjob equate to? How many beers? How much money do you think a blowjob equates to?
Wait, are you giving me the blowjob, or am I giving you said blowjob?
Well, think about it. Okay, here's the thing. The person who's giving it wants to pay less, but the person getting it wants to pay less. The person giving it is going to want more money. So,
you know what? You get me drunk and we'll talk. I don't need money.
Just
how about
I'm a bottle of wine from doing it for free.
I'm a bottle of wine and no cash, but I want that thing to be some authentic, California grown berries,
No, you know what?
Cheap bitch. I don't want some cheap ass box of wine, some boxed Moscato.
This brings me up to my next point. Well, I say that as if I had all this planned. I promise I had none of this planned. But I was gonna make a joke about whiskey dick. I was like, oh, you son of a you. But it brings up a good point in my life. I only really would relate to that joke. The reason it would spew out is because I've spent 24 years on this planet. I've spent probably the last 6 or 7 drinking. I have learned as I've grown, whiskey dick is real.
Okay, well, see, and that's okay. Back to the list of skits I have written down here. This one is simple, and
Okay.
I want you to take it off from the just little one sentence that I have written down. Don't
Okay.
get too drunk before having a three-way. Take it from there, Tanner Vance.
I immediately what comes to mind from my own perspective is me just like trying to get involved, but it's just like kind of sad. It's like
Yeah,
I
at
just
that
start
point,
feeling bad for them tugging at my little spool of thread, and I'm like,
no,
oh.
you know. And then
So-
after a certain point, you're sitting there trying to punch yourself in the dick, trying to get hard, and these two chicks are going at it, and you're like, it's awesome to watch, you know, and you're loving to watch it, but you want to get in there too, but you're still punching yourself, and you know nothing's happening. So long story short, I'm guessing you just have to sit there and watch these two hot chicks go at it.
just gonna sit in the corner and give it a little tug.
Yeah. You know,
Just
like us, our life is not that of a porn star. You know, a three-way is like almost every guy's like dream, you know?
Oh,
And then you finally get yourself into that situation, and then all of a sudden now you just had too many drinks and you have this one chance to do it. and you can't.
oh yeah. Any guy watching for sure would know how pissed off that would
Yeah.
make them. Like,
Yeah, exactly. If you're a guy listening to this and you can't imagine yourself in that situation being like so just frustrated,
God,
maybe
damn
you
it.
don't have the same dreams as most men like me.
Maybe we're just delinquents. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'm just, you know, a
Nasty hoe.
simple mind. You know, some guys will be dreaming of going to Harvard or you know, touring Italy for months at a time.
The head of their law
No.
firm.
Yeah, no, me, a three-way with two beautiful-looking women, and guess what? I know for a fact that I am going to be too drunk to do that.
God damn it. Yeah, but you know that, like, I don't know about you, you know, as beautiful as I am, I don't exactly have
Right.
threesomes being thrown my way left and right, which is why I was doing a project with Amanda. I was just testing out, like, filming and all that, and we were just sitting there shooting shit, and I finally went on, like, a rant about how I've never been invited to a threesome. Like, you talk to all these girls, and they're like, yeah, I got these weird people that wanted me to go to, like, all of them have some story about it.
Right. I've got a story that I had two stories of talk about it. You know, like this one chick that I was seeing wanted to do it with her best friend or what, but it was never anything more than talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the
Not that
difference.
far.
And the talk was pretty nice in itself, to be perfectly honest. But I've never gotten as far as to do it. But the nerve that it takes to actually get thrown into a situation like that, to where like you have to pleasure two women. Guess what? You're gonna be, you know, trembling at the fingertips. So what do? You calm your nerves with some whiskey, and then guess what? You take one last sip, and that was one sip too many. Now you can't get hard. Think about that.
God damn it. That's worst
you-
case
Yeah,
scenario right there.
yeah.
I've done it, though.
Yeah. I've done it too, my friend. Or to the point where you're like, even if you do get it up, you're too drunk to hardly
Yeah.
know what you're doing.
My first experience with that was there was just like when I was first living by myself, and there was just, and you know, like I had drank before and like stinked around, but I think that was like when I was at my peak like teenage horniness, you know. But at this point I was like 22 or something. I can't remember who the fuck knows about the details, but I was living by myself, and then this chick texts me, and she like, it was early in the morning, and she was like, hey, do you want to come over? And I like fucking rolled out of bed, but I was like, man, I showered really fast, got myself all dressed up, but I was like, God damn it, I'm nervous. And I was like, so I started like doing a shot, trying to get my confidence, and I always think that's gonna help, but
And it does, as far as showing up to their house. It
Yeah,
helps
but
to get
but-
there.
I was still nervous, fucking had taken shot after shot, and then just became drunk and nervous, and then got there, and well, you know what happens in the bed.
Hey,
It was a
how
lot of
you doing?
trying.
You want to have sex? And you fall flat on your face and then pass out on her parents' floor.
Yeah, I fucking
No.
wake up to their parents kicking me.
Yeah, get
the
out.
fuck out of my
Get out
house.
of here. Who are you? And the daughter's like, I don't know who that was, because she doesn't want to have to admit that she called for a booty call. But
That would be the funny / in real life not funny scenario, but really we all know what happened to me. It was a lot of effort, a lot of trying,
with very little outcome.
Yeah,
Very
it was
little
a lot,
reward.
a lot of wishful thinking behind that door.
Because you're like, I could have got laid. I could have also gotten a DUI. And I didn't get laid and still almost got a DUI.
Yeah, and I just humiliated myself.
Yeah, it sounds like a perfect outcome to me, buddy.
And that's when I started learning. I decided maybe just shoot your shot. Hopefully, just go in there, but guns blazing on your own. That's also part of my sobriety here. Me like not drinking so far at a week.
Good job too, by the way. But yeah, you want to walk in there, guns blazing, aka walk through the door, hard as a rock. Doesn't matter if her parents are awake and sitting on the couch. Just blow right past them, be like, "What's up?" and then go straight to her room. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's exactly what every woman wants.
Oh yeah, that's the modern day Romeo and Juliet right there, my friends.
I don't care if her parents are there, they're watching, the neighbors see, or she's outside.
Very thin walls. I don't care. Start the washing machine or something if you don't want to hear it. And if you do want to hear it, it's $20.
And I will be filming it, so just think about that.
And I will be selling those for $60 a pop.
Why have you not, let's do skits, but I want to do skits, but maybe you should also go into porn.
I tried that for a little while. First off, I'm too fat.
I thought for sure you were going to ask me why I just randomly threw out you should do porn. You didn't question it at all.
No, I think it's pretty obvious, to be honest. It didn't come true. I tried. I moved out to Hollywood, and tried to make myself a name. But, some things aren't meant to be, Tanner. Some things. And that was one of those things. I moved out there and then nobody would hire me. Turns out 3 months later, I'm just working the corner of some boulevard and something or other strip. And, and even then, I was posting myself for free. And even still, nobody pulled up to try to get me in their car. It's ridiculous. The cops actually came up and told me, dude, this ain't working for you, man. We've been trying to stake you out for a couple of days now. Just
it's just getting sad.
Yeah, it's just getting sad, man. Here's $20. Get yourself a train ticket to somewhere else. And I did, and here I am.
Damn. What a journey you've been on.
It's better than what some people can say. It's not the good life, but it's my life. As Mario once said.
Yeah. God damn it. Yeah, see, well, we've just been talking about our skits and all that. I don't know. I always just keep trying to push you to go, I don't know what I'm pushing you for. I'm pushing you towards, I want to work on these skits with you. And I've thought of, ways to do it at a distance, but it's just, I don't see that really working. You got to be there.
Vines would have been one thing. Maybe we could bring the Vine back. I don't know. Well, because you know how Vines were. Well, no, don't get me started on TikTok. But Vines were almost choppy.
Right.
They seemed almost choppy. It was
it's 60 seconds.
Yeah, one scene chopped into the next, and then chopped into the next. You could do that, We could do that kind of thing from afar,
Right.
I want to go a different way with it, though. I don't want to be the typical TikTok. I don't want to be, I just want to do what we think is going to be funny, even if it is at a distance. I don't want to try to have a platform of, oh, well, this is the standard of TikTok, or, this is the standard of Vine. I just want to do something that's funny and might make people laugh, makes me laugh. If it makes me laugh, hell, I know somebody's going to laugh. but I don't want to have to start from a certain platform and be like, well, this is the guidelines that we need to hit, in order to be funny, or something like that. I don't know.
You don't want to be on someone's. You're not looking to be a Viner or a TikToker. You're just looking to, yeah.
I'm just looking to be funny,
Yeah.
And even if it does follow a little bit of the Vine type of feel, that's fine.
Well, that's because I would rather do like YouTube. Like, I'm not fond of some of the stuff they talk about now of like, YouTube censoring people and all that. So that concerns me because I know some of the shit that's going to come out of my mouth is probably going to be demonetizing for sure kind of content at times. So I got to watch that shit.
Hell, we would have already be kicked off of YouTube by now, just through this podcast right here.
I wouldn't be making money off it anyways. Even if, like, say I was big, no one would want to look at it, or I wouldn't be able to collect money off it because they'd be like,
well, no, because YouTube has gotten liberal. Even if you're not cussing and you're not this, profound sense of like comedy and whatever else, there's like channels that I follow that are just like training you on guns.
Mm.
They don't get any money because they're based off of guns. You're kidding me. It's training me and millions of others to use a gun properly and self-defense and this and that. And then these guys aren't making money off of it?
What should be like, they're just spreading knowledge, but it just...
Yeah.
That's because, and that's what I was talking about, is like they have an agenda on, a lot of these platforms, even like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. They don't want you... They want to censor you to some degree, whether it's no nudity or no talking about this political ideology. And that's the kind of stuff like... that's kind of what I mean is YouTube would probably be my go-to platform so I could do anything, but I also I'll probably not make money off some things, or some things just get pulled. I don't know. I don't have that experience yet.
You also know that you can't make money off of it because it seems like if you have a sense of humor much anymore, you're not making money off of YouTube.
That's why you have to kind of do stuff like Patreon or get people to give you, it's got to be something that's private. You got to have your own website and all that, which, by the way, this show does have its own website. It's TannerVanceShow.com. Go there, enjoy it.
Yeah.
A little self-advertisement. Yeah.
Well, hey, you got to do it somehow, some way, and if that's how you got to do it, how else would you do it?
Would you work on this stuff on your own at all, do you think?
I'm kind of just a lazy piece of shit when I get home from work. I don't know. I sweat my ass off in a shop, standing on my feet for at least 8 hours a day. And I know that that's not an excuse, but I make it an excuse. I'm like, well, I worked all day. I'm tired, and then doing this is like fine because it's just natural. This is completely unscripted. This is just by the, just going with the flow. I didn't have to prep for this. You know what I mean? If I could make a living, if I could do that off of just sitting down and be like, I'm going to talk, I'm going to bullshit, I'm going to say something funny or do something funny. Well, yeah. But as far as going into planning it and then editing it and then this and that, that's where you come in, big boy. Because,
wow.
Like I said, I don't want to have to call myself lazy, but that's kind of just what it comes down to.
Well, we also talked about it before.
I'm not very tech savvy either, though.
Right.
Like I know the things I know, and then other than that, it's like, well, I tried.
Well, with this stuff, I've been still learning too, and in our situation right here, where we're doing it from a distance, if we run into tech issues, that's kind of just what it's going to be because we're not there to, to do this or to check out each other's tech. But as far as we talked about this before. You work a job and all that, so I work too, but you work a job you like, and yours is a little bit more obviously intensive than mine. So I always understand you want to come home and lounge, whereas I get done kind of just stinking around. I work in an old folks home, / hospital, whatever. I mean, it's pretty easy shit, and I don't even like it. I spend most of the time doing it just thinking about working on other stuff or listening to audiobooks or whatever. But so for me to come home and work on these projects and to have things to work on, and that's why I've been kind of trying to fill myself up with more projects. So I have, that's when the fun starts for me. So that's where I think I'm more okay with doing this stuff after work and all that. Whereas I understand you on your own maybe wouldn't as much.
Not as much, I guess.
You could.
It's not that I don't want to.
Right.
It's just, I don't know. Like I said, I make excuses for myself to a certain extent. And I shouldn't.
Well, it's one of those things like side projects. I don't know if necessarily it's for everybody, but I think there's a lot of people who would do well. Well, it's kind of like something I've been thinking about, like especially even trying to be sober, is trying to be more like do stuff, I guess. I don't know. And that's just kind of a big, weird discussion too. Like, how should you spend your time? But I don't know. That's kind of what I'm trying to do, is fill my time with something to do, I guess. And this is like stuff I've been wanting to work on for a long time, like I talked about. And it'd be cool to make money off it.
Well, and then that's the thing too, is, for me, I got off of work, I came home, cracked open a beer, went through my mail, and then I called you. And then 2 hours later, we sat down and started doing this or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I didn't have a whole lot of time for something else,
right.
which doesn't speak for all the other days of stuff that I did nothing after work, But, it's each to their own, like I've known people, and I thought it was weird because my parents were always doing something, cleaning. My dad was always outside after work, raking, mowing, fixing the cars, he was always outside doing something. And then maybe that needs to be my motivation to get off my ass and do something, because he works 12 hours a day or 10 hours a day, still comes home and is productive. I work 8 hours a day, come home, and I'm like, well, time to sit on my ass.
Yeah. But that's what I kind of mean, is there's, I think, a lot of people that just spend a lot of time scrolling through their phones, or like it's been more normalized to binge watch on Netflix.
Well, I deleted Facebook, and I recommend it to anybody out there. You would be surprised how good it is to just not have to worry about, what's going on in the world of Facebook? Because it almost makes you anxious. Like, and I've heard this somewhere else. I can't exactly quote who it was, but I saw this somewhere, and they said, I think it was just on the radio here in my town, but he said, try to put your phone into a room of the house and shut that door and see how long you make it before you're thinking about, well, what if somebody tried to call me? What if somebody texted me? What if somebody tagged me in a post? He said, try to see how long you make it before you just get up and go grab your phone from that room. Right. So I've been trying to be less connected to my phone, which honestly I love. Sure, I still have Instagram, and I almost just switched my whole Facebook thing over to Instagram, which now I'm almost on the point of just deleting Instagram, because I'm like, well, I just traded one addiction for the next.
Right. Well, that's just it. I have to, I don't know. Like, I try to keep something. Like, for example, I think Twitter is a trash garbage app or social media.
Oh, dude, I hate it. I hate Twitter. I downloaded it, and man, I never get on there ever.
It's just toxic.
I just don't like the platform. I just don't like how it's set up. I don't like the things people post. I think it's pointless, because it's like, who gives a shit what Will Smith is doing in his garage?
See,
like, honestly, who gives a flying fuck?
I follow a lot of people on there, and I only use it because honestly, I can follow a lot of different personalities, and I can get a lot of information faster than About the News can pump it out, and I can see what's relevant, which is good for me to, like, for my podcast or to make jokes and stuff. Like, we're making relevant jokes. Like, I was already making jokes. Like, just today there was that big explosion in, what is it, Beirut, Lebanon.
Well, I haven't heard anything yet.
But that's all. That's why I use it, so I can like do that. Otherwise, I don't give a shit about that app. And then
just think it's
Facebook
set
and
up for.
yeah, no, and I don't even like it. Most of the content most normal people post is just stupid. But
At Starbucks, getting my frappuccino.
or people just saying like motivational stuff, like someone's like, "I'm feeling my best life," or I'm. They post some slutty picture. They're like, "Never gonna lose this smile," and blah blah blah. I'm like,
Well,
give it
it's
like
like
2 days, and you'll be giving a depressing like.
Yeah.
I'm just crying, and I don't know why.
Yeah, the whole motivational speak thing, it's like if you gave DJ Khaled a 24-hour TV show,
Right.
That's what it is, if you ask me. Give DJ Khaled a 24-hour talk show, and that's what most platforms are, including Instagram, Twitter. Facebook is mostly negative, if you ask me. But
You think so?
Well, personally, I don't know. That's why I deleted it. I got into an argument with some guy over politics because he's a jobless, living in his mom's house. Typical no life. Got into an argument over politics, and then he brings up some personal stuff and thoroughly pissed me off. And and I deleted Facebook after that, honestly. It was that moment in time where I was like, I got into an argument with someone that I used to be friends with over Facebook.
And it would never get that toxic in person.
No, because like we know better. No, because he's a keyboard warrior. You know, that's what most people are. They'll hide behind their computer screens and their keyboards, excuse me. And they'll just say whatever's on their mind. And sure, you could say that. You could say whatever's on your mind. This is a free country. But if you won't say that to me in person, why are you doing that over a platform? You know?
Don't say it at all.
And that's exactly what happened. He brought up some of my personal life. And so I called him up, you know, and I have his phone number. I called him up and was like, "What in the hell is this about, dude?" And he's like, "Oh, F you this and F you that," and just la.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's funny because my best friend is his boss. So I was like, haha, I
fucking tell on you.
I tried to play that card just to kind of make him worry. And it obviously did, because I said, "Oh, I wouldn't tell Adam that." And he's like, "Yeah, what's Adam going to do?" I said, "You just call him up and tell him what you said to me." And he said, "I will." And he just hung up on me, and I haven't heard from him since.
See, but I think, okay, well, this is how I don't ever comment on anything anymore. Like, I just don't engage anymore. The most I'll do is I'll scroll through Facebook, and I just, I have got all like, you got your community people, and then there's your family and extended family and all that. And then you've got like friends and all that. I just have a lot of people posting like memes and funny shit. So for me, I just scroll through, I give likes to some things. I see if anyone's posting any, I don't know, I guess I don't really care what people are up to, but if you see, I guess what your family's up to, whatever, like, sometimes family will post some trip. I don't really care, but cool. So I'll give it a like. But otherwise, I don't engage in any of them. So for me, I try to keep it not as toxic. You know what I mean?
And that's what got me wrong, is that he made a
reading the
post
comments.
He made a post about some political something or other, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you were jobless for ever. You've never moved out of your mom's house. You're 25 years old. And I'm like, you don't have any room to say much of anything, if you ask me. Like, I'm sorry. If you don't know what the real world is like, you should not complain about it.
Right.
If you've moved out and if you've had hardships, and, everybody's had hardships. And, because life sucks. Let's be honest. Life, sucks. But you can make the best of it. The only thing is that some people blame politics for their life sucking instead of them, like evaluating themselves to say, well, what could I do different to make my life better? Some people aren't critical thinkers like that. Instead of blaming themselves for the situation that they got themselves into, they want to blame politics or, policies or the job that had fired them. They're going to blame them. And it's like, no, call no showed and you got fired, or you know what I mean? Instead of saying like, yeah, that's my fault. Instead of that, they're like, well, they should at least give you one freebie, or you know what I mean? Like something like that. There's always an excuse for something.
Well, I think that when you're, because here's the thing, I do think people should, like, obviously politics affects every, life and all that in our society. So I think people should be politically active and, more importantly, be active and all that. But like you said, you got to be a critical thinker and be like able to self-reflect or think outside the box.
Right.
But you can't, as far as like there does come a point when obviously politics ends and it's up to you. Like you can't be lazy. It's kind of like we talked about, like side projects. You can't do nothing and wonder why you're not going forward. Like right. Keep the same job in the same little town and you're working part-time at a McDonald's. You can't really blame the fact that the minimum wage is where it's at because of of your decision. Because
you didn't want to venture off and do something to benefit yourself.
Take the risk.
Yeah. Well, that's what life is one giant risk. And some I know it's scary to take a leap of faith like that, and hell, I'm about probably ready to do one myself. I feel like once a year, at least, you need to do something completely out of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That could jeopardize everything. And maybe it will, and maybe it won't, but you would never know if you didn't try it.
Well, especially I start feeling like I'm in a rut if you're not taking risks and stuff. You're just doing the same humdrum thing you've been doing day in and day out. I start to feel like I'm in a rut, and it starts to make me feel depressed. And so,
right.
I got to do, like, I'm taking, like, I feel like small risks kind of doing, like, these projects, but, like, I'll be moving soon, and it'll be a big ordeal and a big make or break, potentially break. Like, and this is something I considered. I'm like, man, I don't have a lot of backups in life. Like, if I were to run out of money and plans, like, yeah, well, probably end up at your doorstep. But I just thought, I was like, I'd have to end up at someone's doorstep with nothing and go, hey, I have nothing. Can I stay here? And that sucks.
But you can't keep stabbing yourself in the stomach and wondering why you keep bleeding.
Right. You got to do something about it. And you got to take the risk as far as I'm concerned. You have to make the leap, and it might not work out. And that's the scary part.
That's what life is one big giant leap of faith with many smaller leaps to it. If that makes any sense.
It does. No, I mean,
that's a game of leapfrog.
That's fucking deep.
Yeah, I know. Think about that for a few minutes there.
Sometimes you leap on a log, other times you leap in the water. It is what it is.
And sometimes you need to leap on someone's back.
And not get hit by a car.
And then now, hopefully you're not in the road when you do it.
God damn it.
And hopefully you can swim.
Yeah, see, well, that's what I think too. So I just have blocked out looking at comments on social media too. I just thought of that. I just thought of that. Just because you got to stay away, because that's where it gets you in trouble. Because sometimes I'll see something someone posts political, and then I'll look down and see 10 comments, and I'm so tempted to click on it and just see what all the comments are, because you're going to click on it.
Oh, and it's all negative every
people
time.
Arguing back and forth.
Time. Yeah,
and it makes me want to jump in, of course, but I'm like, no, you're not going to change someone's mind over a keyboard. You're not.
No.
Give it up.
No.
So I hold off,
and that was my mistake. I was like, I wasn't trying to change somebody's opinion on something, but I was trying to voice my own opinion on that subject, and it just absolutely backfired to the point where I was irate, about ready to do something completely stupid and get my ass thrown in jail. And I was like, you know what? This ain't worth it. Like, the anxiety, this guy isn't worth it. you know, it's just I had to think like, well, I'm doing quite a bit better than this guy. You know what I mean?
If it causes
like
you
that's
that emotion, then yeah, get rid of it.
you know, it's not worth it. Yeah, and it never did bring me that kind of emotion until that day, and then that's when I was like, you know what? Fuck this. Like I've never
Right.
had so much anxiety. Not over the political stuff, but because he did not like my opinion, he had to bring up my personal life. And then
Right.
I was like, well, I'm not going to bring up your personal life over Facebook. So I called him. And then, oh, man,
Yeah.
that was a fuck fest. And I was just like, you know what? I'm deleting Facebook. And honestly, I would not change that at all. And I'm about ready to do the same to Instagram just because I mean, we could have a subject for what I feel like would be days about one's dependence on technology. Like, what do you think would happen if the coal stopped moving and the power stopped coming?
Oh, dude, we'd be fucked. Society would collapse, man.
Oh yeah. And honestly, I'm kind of for it. I just kind of want to see who the fuck would survive and who would die.
Dude, you wouldn't want to be in one of the cities.
No, that's where I'm glad I live where I'm at, is because, first off, I'm surrounded by old people. I'm way more agile than them. Like, you know, I'll throw them into oncoming traffic in order to
Yeah, right.
survive, or you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to, but if I had to,
It's not about want.
it's not. At that point, it's basically like full chaos, you know, like apocalypse style chaos, and it's like each man to their own, you know.
It would be apocalyptic, and you could just imagine like the first as it all of a sudden happened, the shock that would happen, like neighbors would be coming outside like, yeah, is the power off for you? And then like we wouldn't even know how to get a hold of anyone. Like what are you gonna phone call them? You gonna email them? You gonna like text?
You can't. Yeah. What, are you going to get into your smart car and go and see them? Oh, wait, there's no power to power said smart car.
No news, no radios, or
no news to tell you what's going on or what happened, or, you know, to stay calm, which I think would, if that scenario happened and some people could not contact loved ones or mass confusion in itself, I feel like that alone would just instantly start riots. Just instantly, riots would start instantly.
I think in the big cities, probably, yeah, there'd probably be mass chaos and riots. Out here,
yeah,
not
people
so much.
would just, like in like Los Angeles or something, people would just walk out and be like, do you have power? And they're like, no, I don't have power. Do you have power? And you're like, no, I don't have power. Well, I'm going to kill you. Or, you know, like, I swear to God, I feel like that's exactly how it would go.
It would
And
probably
it's
be
sad.
like, yeah, like they'd probably like go some of the day, but once the message started to become more and more clear that this was off and it was everywhere and it wasn't stopping, that's when you'd see people like, well, what am I going to do? And then people would start panicking and people would start smashing windows and stealing food. And yeah.
Oh, it would be a shit show.
But
And
we wouldn't even know about it.
Not us, no.
Yeah.
But we'd have to deal with it on a much smaller scale. And like I said, I'm surrounded by a town of old people. I feel like my chances are pretty good.
Survival's looking pretty good for me.
I didn't want to
like
have to
my
be that
odds.
guy, but I would elbow some old people to get a can of Spam. You know, so
Oh my god! Well, your survival's set.
oh hell, I don't care. I watched a lot of Man vs. Wild and Survivor Man and whatever
Well,
else.
out here,
I
around
can
the
make
country,
a hammock out of a freaking pine tree. You know what I mean?
right? But out here, it's like there's open spaces, there's water, there's creeks, there's wild animals.
I would take my happy ass straight up the mountain on the half a tank of gas that's in my truck. I would take my ass straight up to the mountain, find some old person's cabin, and just put up camp in some person's cabin.
Right. Dude,
What would you do? I mean, what's the oh shit scenario for you?
I think I would hang out for a second. I mean, I know some people here, and I'd probably go like, once it started to become clear that's what was happening, that everything was turned off. Like, especially if I drove around town and everything was shut off and I saw people looking around and stuff, I'd start panicking and I'd probably go collect all my shit, all the important stuff, collect all the food. I'd probably head over to, some people I know around here's house, collaborate, have a big group. The bigger the group, probably the better. And I think in these small towns, most people would come together. I'd probably like show up at I don't know. I don't think chaos would ensue right off the bat. I don't think there would be much of it.
It would take some time in these smaller communities. What's the population there where you're at?
Like 3,500 ish, maybe. And I might be wrong.
See, we've got almost like 5,000 here or something. So you might have it better there. But plus, we're both right, kind of, next door to mountains. And maybe that's wrong of me, but I would probably take my happy ass straight up to the mountains, cut down a whole shit ton of trees, get some firewood going, for the winter. And I would, if I have to kill a deer a day to survive, or a deer a week, I am perfectly trained for that. Not that I'm like the best survivalist out there or nothing like that. Do I think that I could survive? Yes, you bet your sweet ass. I think I could make it at least a year living up on the mountains by myself, even through a harsh Wyoming winter. I really do.
And wouldn't it be crazy though if you were up there surviving and then it just after a couple of years you were like, well, I might go back and see what's up. You come back and the world would be totally different. Like, you just come back down that mountain, you come back to town, check out your house. The town is like all boarded up. Like, there's a wall around it and it's like some faction. They're like, I don't even fucking know.
Wyomingites.
Yeah, we're the true Wyomingites.
Yeah.
And
I'm like, I got like
a
deer pelt on me or something. And I'm just like,
yeah.
And the guy's like, what's the password? And I just punch him straight in the face and like I'm a wilderness man at this point.
Oh, do we need to take a break?
I'm about to piss my panties, big boy.
I thought you were doing the pee-pee dance. All right, well, let's cut for a second.
I'm pinching my dick.
Okay, you go do it. Just leave everything as it is.
Let me demonstrate.
Oh. So, wait, no. I don't need to. I don't need to see it. It didn't get worse. It got worse.
Hey, no.
Can you see me?
Can you see me?
Oh, God damn it.
I was going to pull my finger away from the camera, and then all of a sudden it's going to be my balls. But then, it took forever, and then I was like, I want to sit down, and then I put my balls away. And,
God. Well, you already, not everyone got to see it, or will not have got to see it, but
I wish that they would have, though.
We've already seen quite enough of you as it is. Yeah.
Well, you have.
Well, I could have looked away at any time, but I didn't.
No, I know. That's why I was like, I guess I'm just going to keep showing him. He'll look away when he wants to. This is a free country. Nobody's holding his eyelids open.
Yeah, see, I should be able to post whatever I want. It doesn't mean you need to look at it.
Exactly. Sure.
No, don't to cancel me. So, yeah, I guess, we were talking about our oh shit plans, but I think we figured that out. Yeah, you were going to go to the mountains. I think I want to stick around and see what happens. I want to find out what goes on. So, I think I'll stay.
Well, see, I don't have anybody here.
True.
Where I live, in a new town, I don't have anybody to just go show up at their doorstep and be like, what's going on? Or, I don't have any of that.
Choose a family and just start following them. You're just Uncle Dustyn that showed up.
Mom and Dad. Yeah, and they're like, fuck off, kid. And I'm like, but Mom.
Fuck off, guy.
And they're just like, I don't know you. And I'm like, but I love you.
Just, no, it'll work out.
They have dementia or something. They're like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm your son. And they're like, oh, all right.
Are you here to fix the power?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Hold on.
Yes, I am, Grandma. Go out back and start digging yourself a hole.
Oh my God.
just start digging a hole. big enough to fit you. I mean, anybody.
You could have just gone in and been like, "Oh, I'm gonna turn the power on, but I have to get all your food out of here first and valuables."
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, if an apocalypse happens, and I'm sorry to even my grandparents. Well, but they're not old enough to be like, should you live through this? You know, they're at that like happy medium age where it's like, maybe you're like young and ish enough to warrant living through this, or keeping alive, but
so you don't want to waste the resources on some.
Well, I mean, no, yeah. I was gonna try to church it up, but no, I definitely don't.
Yeah, well, I figure. Okay, what's your take on cannibalism? Are you gonna swap to eating people if you have to?
No, I don't feel like I don't feel
You're
like
gonna
I'd be
kill people, but you won't eat them.
No, I'm not gonna personally kill them. Starvation's gonna kill them because I took all their food.
So it's just going to be slow and very painful and confusing
possible
for them.
Suffocation. Yeah. No, they're not going to know what's going on. No, I feel like there's plenty of animals, at least where we live. If you're in Los Angeles and whatever else, I feel fucking horrible for you. Because with the population to like animal ratio, you are fucked. Like 90% of you are just going to die of starvation unless you turn to cannibalism. Me, or us, I should say, on the other hand, I feel like we could, even on rabbits, squirrels, chipmunks, raccoons, you know what I mean? Deer, elk,
There's deer,
buffalo,
yeah. We have a lot of options.
Sheep. There's llamas around here, you know what I mean?
They got fucking alpaca farms.
Sheep, goats, yeah. I would just probably pull up to a a llama sanctuary. There's one just right outside of town here, and I'd probably just be like, "Yo, how's it going, man?"
No one thought to go to the llama farm.
No, that's where like I'm thinking outside the box, baby. I'm thinking survival. I'm not thinking the prettiest option to live. I'm thinking like I'm gonna live one way or the other. I'm gonna show up to that llama farm. And I'm going to eat like a king by myself forever. At least until they all die, because I don't know how to breed those sons of bitches.
I actually do not know how to take care of llamas.
Yeah.
Well.
Here's a carrot. Oh, you died? Fuck.
Fucking
Here's some peanut butter. Yeah.
So it turns out they do not eat quesadillas. I have found out.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it was the tortilla. Maybe it was the cheese. Maybe it was both. I don't fucking know.
Who can say? Well, I think out here, like we said, we'd be fine. But, what if it's my personal choice? What if laws are a little loose? What if I want to eat people? That is my right.
In an apocalypse, there are no rules. There are no laws. Eat as many people as you fucking want, buddy.
Just go to the city and
I just
round
think
up
that
people.
a human would taste horrible. I mean, imagine eating me, all right? I drink a lot. I smoke a lot.
So
you know what I mean?
I'll get a buzz and a nicotine high from eating you.
Probably. I guarantee. Well, but like think about it as like eating a cow or a pig. You could taste how healthy they were, right?
Right. Okay.
Imagine eating an 80-year-old man.
Oh.
That would be like eating a bag of jerky, teriyaki jerky that has been open and sitting in the sun for 20 years. You know what I mean? I don't see anything appetizing of it. Imagine, like, I think about it as if I had to eat myself, how would I taste? Well, first off, you're going to be having a lot more fat in your mouth than muscle. Okay, that's first off. Second off, I'm not on a very good diet. I smoke a lot. I drink a lot. My body's probably trying to give up on me anyway.
As we speak.
Yeah. So, you wouldn't want to eat a cow that's dying of fucking alcohol poisoning. You know what I mean?
Well, it wouldn't be the first one I'll go to, but
If you had to. I don't know. I just feel like people would taste horrible, and I don't know if I would be able to bring myself to even do it. Like it's like if you come across a dog sanctuary, are you gonna start eating these little chihuahuas?
You're gonna eat the llamas. What difference does it make?
It's not a dog. I'm not best friends with a fucking llama.
Well, don't eat your dog. Eat
Well, no,
your neighbor's dog.
She'll be dead by then, but she's old. She's old. I'm not gonna eat her, but she's just old. She's 15 years old. What do you expect?
She's not gonna make it from the apocalypse.
No.
Just get her a fucking chest pouch.
She's
Just plop her
blind
in
and deaf. Like, if I'm running to save my own life, she's going to be sitting in there in the street like, Dusty, where'd you go? And I would be like, Sadie! She's like, I can't hear you or see you. And then that's how she died.
there. And then what, do you go back?
No, and not if it's like a full fuck fest of people trying to kill people. Like, I'm sorry, but that dog's going to get left behind.
I was lucky enough for me to make it out as it was the first time. Let's not try it again.
I ain't going back. Exactly.
Yeah. I think I just
feel like
wall
there's-
off the state because I wouldn't want people running here.
Oh, and they would. They already are. People are just billowing out of fucking California
Yeah.
to come live in the Midwest. And it's
probably,
like, fucking stay where you're at. We don't want you.
Yeah.
We don't fucking want you here. We take pride in being the least populated state, including Alaska. We love that shit.
Yeah, we oddly get off
love
on
it. Yeah, we do. We love it. We don't want you here.
Well, you weren't here before. I figure, and here's what worries me too, is like, on one hand, you want to be nice and like open your arms and welcome them in, but you know that they would just come here and fuck it up like they fucked their states up.
Well, that's exactly the story that goes through my head. When I lived in Sheridan, I lived in a fourplex, and my neighbor was a guy that moved here from California. And he was a very cool dude. His name was Philip. And we got along a lot. We smoked some illegal substances, together and whatever else, and drank and whatever, barbecued all the time. And I grew to really like him and his family. His, kid basically called me uncle. And because I lived there for like almost 3 years or something. So very cool dude. And then one day he brought up gun rights.
Oh,
Big mistake. He was like, well, I don't see why any person needs to own firearms. Like, I think that he's like telling me, like, I think it should be left to police and military. And I'm like, dude, you're in Wyoming. There's more guns per capita than people.
Yeah, you're in the wrong state to say that.
Yeah, go to Florida and maybe preach that, and somebody might be like, I think you have a point. But Wyoming, you could talk to probably 98% of people from Wyoming, and they're not going to agree with you on that shit. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's almost like pick your battles, and he kind of picked the wrong one right there. Not with me. Like, I didn't get pissed off, and I didn't become belligerent or, nothing like that. But I was just like, dude, I said, I was kind of like, why'd you leave California? He's like, well, too many regulations and like overpopulation and stuff like that, like the basic California bullshit. And I was like, so leave that there, leave the regulations. You left the regulations, leave them.
Don't come here and vote in more.
They should have stayed there when you left, That's my point of view on it. And it's not, he's a nice guy, and I am happy to call him a friend. But at the same time, it's like, when I asked him, why'd you leave? Oh, well, too many regulations and laws. And I'm like, okay, well, there you go. Right there.
Why don't you fix your state and you leave ours alone?
Instead of just being like, well, my state's a fuck fest. Fuck this shit. I'm out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Instead of trying to vote in the right, because at that point, it's not necessarily democracy. Because, like, if you didn't like the shit that you were dealing with and whatever else, you should go to wait for an election, elect somebody that you think's going to try to backpedal the regulations and laws and whatever else, or you know what I mean? That's a democracy. You don't just pick up and leave your problems like, man, I don't like this. And then guess what? When you pack up and leave, you leave those people in office. Nothing's going to change.
Right. And you're leaving the people who voted it in, and they're all sticking with it, so they're all probably going to do the same shit. It's obviously not bothering them enough that they're going to leave. Like, they're sticking with it, and they're going to bitch about it, but keep doing it.
Look at, and I will say this with a heavy heart kind of, because I feel for these people. But look at when Trump was in office, before this pandemic, it was a very, very low rate of unemployment.
True.
Very. Look at the percentage of that unemployment population. Most of that lives in California.
Probably the big cities.
Most of the entire U.S. unemployment population lived in like downtown Los Angeles or some shit.
Well, because out here, that doesn't really work. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could be a piece of shit out here too. But I also just don't think that there's a lot. I don't know. I can't say what it is. It's just
I don't know either. I want to say it's just almost just the way that the leadership is there or something. You know what I mean? Because think about it like this. Look at how many jobs we've had come to Wyoming that left California.
Well, like Elon left California. I think he's moving to Texas. I think Joe Rogan's going to Texas too. Exactly.
Look at all the businesses that have left California due to the regulations and laws. Hell, I could count probably 5 that moved to Sheridan and Worland in the past 5 years. Big companies.
Got a couple already.
Big companies.
Oh,
that just said, not just people, companies.
Right.
That said, fuck this to California and left and came to Wyoming, Montana, Texas, somewhere other than there. Well, all those companies that packed up and left, let's say they employed 250 people. That's at least 250 people in California that are now jobless.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and tell me that there's not a trickle effect on that.
Right. Well, and if I'd be more welcoming if people showed up here and they were like, yeah, that didn't work. I
what
guess
are you guys all about?
Yeah, and they were willing to be changing their opinions a little bit. Like probably like saying, hey, all of those taxes and regulations didn't work so well. Whatever it is, I'm not even pretending like I know exactly what the problem is. I'm just going to say that if you come here or if you go to some of these states that are polar opposites, maybe learn something from it or just...
Well, and they should.
Or something.
But you got to think about it like this. You can't go to Africa and walk around trying to preach the American way. Because they have a culture of their own. They have been doing things, their culture, their beliefs, just everything, their food, their, everything like that is special to them. Their culture is special to them. You're not going to walk in there and try to change the way that they think and the way that they live just because you have your own opinion. You have to respect their culture.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would expect from people coming here. Because I've had some people come here and I only know about them because they work where I work. There's a couple of them that showed up and they're like, yeah, we got out of communist California. And I'm like, oh, okay, well.
And they're
it's different out here.
And they're like, AR-15 should be illegal. And
yikes, everyone here has one.
you guys eat cows? Oh my God. Or you guys eat meat?
We go to the local slaughterhouse. I choose the cow I want. I want the one that's the most scared.
Yeah, I want to see the fear in his eyes.
I want to taste that later. That's exactly how we work here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, my parent, you could go out and just buy a half a cow from somebody that owns a ranch. Like my dad works. Well, my dad works with a lady whose husband owns a farm. A cow farm or ranch.
Yeah.
Well, they could just go to her and be like, yeah, we'd like a half a cow. And she's like, okay. And they take that cow down and slaughter it, and he gets half of it. You know what I mean? It's not like going to the grocery store and being like, oh, what's this? What's that? No,
they get it fresh.
Yeah, they get it straight from the butcher's knife. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And what, that whole like most of our meat being shipped from China. Fuck that. Why? We have plenty of ranches, plenty of farmers, plenty of. I mean, come on, let's keep it local, people.
Yeah, especially out here. Like, I think most of us do out here eat stuff that comes from ranches and
Yeah,
from
go
America.
go
and all
down
that.
to your local deli and then
Mm.
eat something that came from the county that you live in. You will never go back. The taste of it is amazing. Plus,
Well,
you're helping out a local shop. I'm all about
that's
local, baby. Like that's all
well.
there is to it.
I hope that something about coronavirus showed people like how much shit's actually sent to China, or how much stuff we get depends on China sending it to us. Like most of our
Well,
medicines and pharmaceuticals come from there. A lot of like parts, like toys, shit, like manufactured goods come from there. You like,
and meats
yeah,
and
foods.
meat. There
How
was
much meat?
actually because remember during this whole coronavirus bullshit, there was that meat shortage scare
Right.
that went through. Well, that's because I don't know if it's most or some of our meat comes from China. A guy I work with says that there was a farm in Montana that got put for sale. A Chinese company came in and bought it, and it was like a pig farm,
Mm.
and they'd raised the pigs in Montana, shipped them to China for slaughter,
For
and then
cheaper labor.
and then shipped them back to America to sell.
Isn't that weird though that like the way things are set up, it's cheaper to send things to China, have it processed, and then have it shipped back rather than just doing it here. Like
You know
that
how
sounds
much
like it should
money
be
you have to.
worse.
You know how much money it is to ship stuff across an ocean?
A fucking pig, let alone pigs.
Yeah. Like
Shouldn't
a ferry, a huge carrier filled with pigs. You know how much money that's got to cost?
How is that cheaper? Like, why would do it at all? Like, I could see China wanting to do it for Chinese interest, but like,
Sending
would
it
we-
back?
what's our companies? There's companies of ours that does that. They send shit to like, I mean, like iPhones. They send them, they make them there and then send them over here. It's like, wow, that's less than just making it here, or like you're making more over there than just keeping it here.
I don't know what the reasoning is for it, but it's bullshit. Because I feel like we need, and I really do think that this whole coronavirus thing has opened the eyes of a lot of people, and I hope that it has. Because much anymore, if I walk in somewhere and I try to buy something, I'd look to see a made in America, a USA stamped on the side of it.
Right.
It might be more expensive, a few bucks, $10, depends on what you're buying. But you and to the listeners of this, just enlighten me a little bit. Go down to whatever, local store you have that sells knives. You buy a Chinese one and you buy a USA one. Put it through a torture test. Tell me which one comes out on top. Seriously.
Well, it should be, and that's just another thing though too. Is our companies, I think, also get in trouble for like, just big companies in general half-assing stuff. I mean, making it's just like the giant corporations and stuff that seem to like. I think mom and pop stores are like, if you actually saw like someone actually crafting something themselves, you'd see it as better, or it probably would be better. But I have to think also that even some of the big corporations now these days probably just make stuff cheap and shitty so you'll have to replace it soon anyways. So it probably depends also
Well,
where you get it from even in here.
no, and it does. Not all USA made stuff guarantees it's going to be great. And that's what's sad is because we have become a throwaway society.
Mm-hmm.
It is cheaper to just buy a replacement than it is to fix the parts on what you have.
Mm-hmm.
So given the fact that we are a throwaway society, It is about quantity, not quality.
Right.
And that
Well-
needs to change. Because first off, you got to think, if we're a throwaway society, right? Simple stuff. You could name it.
Hmm.
Cars. Do you really think that a 2020 Chevy Silverado is going to last as long as the old 1914 like Fords have
So you just
that you
keep patching
still
them
see
together.
around?
Hmm.
I mean, do you
I don't
really
know.
think? You know what I mean? I mean, in that
Yeah.
situation, I'd say that they'd hit 180 to 210,000 miles, and it's just like, well, off to the dump with you, or you know what I mean?
Well, for example, like in our country, we it's weird that we have a much smaller population than China. Now, I don't know exactly the numbers or anything like that, but I know that we consume either more or just about as much as them. Just purchasing shit. We all just buy, like, we're like some of the biggest consumer market in the world. And we're like,
Well,
what,
yeah.
330 million or something like that. China's like 1 billion, and we still consume more. Or, if not more, than relative to. Which probably means that we all have a shopping issue.
Well, not only that, but it's just like
And throwing away.
the throwaway.
Yeah.
You know, if you buy something and it lasts a year and you throw it out, there's a trickle effect to that. Because now you go buy a new one. That gives money into the pockets of somebody that's paying for cheap labor, for cheap parts, for a cheap product. And then that thing that you threw away goes to a dump, and it's added to a pile of stuff that's never going to go away.
Well, part of this is like the consumers. They need to like, because there's like there's probably a big thing for corporations. It's probably an awesome thing for corporations to have people throwing shit away and then buying brand new ones. Because
No, it's very good. It's very good for them.
But people,
it's
it's like,
very not good for us.
yeah, but it's brand recognition. So the more of us that all like, we get to like know these big brands. Like, there's a big feud between Android and iPhone. So people are only buying like Samsungs and iPhones and shit like that. But there's other companies out there too. Everyone just buys from like the main brands and stuff like that. And it's really lots of times just people shit arguing over shit. Now, I'm not necessarily specifically saying that that's iPhones and Samsungs, whatever. But like, you get my
Well, no.
point that the big brands is like, people will just buy that shit because they know it.
Right.
But doesn't mean like necessarily that you should be buying from that company.
Right.
Like,
well, and then so that brings me to a subject that I kind of want to talk about, actually.
okay.
And I want your full opinion on this because I know it's something that I very much want to do. So kind of going back to the whole throwaway society and all that, what if you could just get rid of that? Get rid of the personal belongings, the unnecessary buying, the pollution, everything.
Mhm.
For instance, you go live somewhere, possibly up on the mountains, somewhere in a small community, self-sustaining community.
Okay.
That's on my bucket list. I want to
Do you
go
wanna
spend
do that?
I want to go spend like a year of my life at some sort of self-sustaining community where we eat the food that we grow and kill, and we build our houses, and we make our own hot water, and we, you know, I don't know, we filter our own water.
Yeah, you want to be self-sustaining and try that out. I think that would be an awesome experience for most people to try. Especially it would have been good to do it like early in life. Like as soon as you turn 18, like fucking send like ancient Sparta, they send you to be fist fighting with wolves and
Yeah.
go live on your own and don't come
Because-
back till you're a man.
Because when you're that young, you don't have anything to lose necessarily. You're coming out of high school already broke. You know what I mean? You don't have very many possessions. You don't have a whole lot to lose. But if
Your
you
parents
get
would
to
be
be
pissed for wasting 18 years of money. They might be
Exactly.
pissed.
They will, but you won't. I guarantee it. You know,
You'll be dead.
yeah, well, possibly. But like, if you're 50 years old and you go try to do this, you possibly have a lot to lose. You know, you probably have a mortgage, car payments. You know, you can't just walk away from stuff like that. But if you're young and like 18, you can just walk away from whatever small amount of responsibilities that you supposedly have.
Yeah, well, okay. I still think it would just be an interesting thing to do because you would learn so much. You would never forget having spent that time living that way. Like,
Let's go
I
do
don't-
it.
I don't think I like. It's one of those things that it's hard because, okay, say you didn't go do that to that extreme. Say you were just living your life the way kind of you are in a way, like you were working a job, doing stuff. But what if you threw away the extra stuff? What do you consider extra to you? Like, how would you minimalize
TV,
your life?
internet, any unnecessary spending that consists of anything that isn't going to just keep you alive.
Mm.
Internet, TV, phones, tablets, anything other than food, electricity, and water, basically for me. And possibly your vehicle, because you still got to drive to work in that instance.
Right. So you think could you do that, do you think? In today's day and age?
Man.
'Cause-
Honestly, yes, and I'd love to give it a try, to be perfectly honest with you. You know how much money you'd save not spending money on bullshit like Wi-Fi, phones, phone bills, freaking anything.
Maybe that is something that people haven't considered though, is that we do spend more money on extra shit. Like most of us all want to buy something to stream our TV shows on, a TV.
Yeah.
Most people want a phone and a nice phone plan and shit like that, and extra technology. Like that's something they couldn't buy back. I'm sure there's things they could have bought still that was entertainment of the day, but at the same time, not as much as it is now. And you need to keep making payments on Wi-Fi and your phone. Like it's kind of
and
a big
Hulu,
chunk out of your check.
Netflix.
Yeah.
If you add all that shit up, movie rentals, your Wi-Fi bill,
Video games.
Yeah, your Xbox Live pass,
And having to buy video games for it, new games all the time.
Yeah. You know how much money you'd save? And I'm actually kind of, since you brought that up, almost wanting to give that a try. Although I do still want to go live out a self-sustaining community.
That was, I just kind of took it in a different direction there. But I think both of those.
But maybe that'd prep you for something like that.
Mentally, my hard part is that this stuff. Like I have this thought of I would love to be like a minimalist, right, and have just less. But then I think, oh well, I want like my equipment for this. Like I want to keep doing this, but then that's still a bunch of technology. I could shut myself off from like the internet until I'm gonna upload something. But then I think I don't know. I'm like, okay, what I do want to keep that is that not minimalist enough, and then I don't know, it kind of spirals from there. Sometimes I even think, man, but what if I just want to play video games once in a while? Like, I mean, because these days I don't even play it a bunch either. I don't know, it's like kind of spirals into how much technology like it would be really hard to be away from.
You're dependent on it. Everybody is. Like I said, don't pay your next couple of phone bills and tell me
fucking tough.
And tell me, the anxiety that comes across, your being when your phone gets shut off.
Yeah, and it's hard too because how are you going to get a hold of your loved ones either?
Well,
because they don't even have payphones anymore. There's no how do you? Everyone's so dependent on cell phones now. Everyone expects that you have one. Fuck.
Right. There is no payphones. You can't just go down to
Can't go down the corner and go to a payphone or something like that. You'd have to go into like a business, be like, hey, can I borrow your phone? And then they'd be like, dude, we're going to start charging you. You're here like every other week or something like that. And you're here for like 3 hours. Get the fuck
I have a
out.
lot of people to call.
Yeah, I do all my personal calls here.
Do you not understand? Yeah.
You're on the sex line.
They're like, dude, really? You're like, this is personal. Yeah.
This is my weekly ritual. Don't take this from me.
This is my distant cousin. Wait, what? Never mind. Don't think about it.
Don't listen.
Yeah. Stop eavesdropping, you piece of shit. Yeah.
Old
Have you
lady's
ever
going
heard
by
of
with her.
privacy?
Yeah, old lady's walking by with her groceries, and you're just like, yeah, no, now put this in your mouth. You're on a hotline.
Yeah. And she looks at you funny. Keep hobbling along, you old bat.
Yeah, you'd have to start going further and further to different businesses. Then there would be a coalition against you. Businesses against Dustyn.
You'd walk into any business and there's a picture of you hanging up that says like, he's a good guy, but don't let him use your phone.
Yeah, he can shop there, but that's it.
Yeah, but that's it. Yeah.
Don't be fooled. He will go up to you and ask to use your cell phone, and he will tell you his mother's dying or he's dying.
Yeah, but
It's
if you
an
listen,
emergency.
if you listen closely, he just spent $20 on your personal account to listen to a hooker talk about her day.
Someone steps up. He literally went to the bathroom and played Candy Crush. He spent so much money.
Yeah, he used up so much of my data that I have overdraft fees.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be a skit in and of itself.
Oh, I would too. Yeah.
And we're
Please
back to
just
that.
let me just use your phone, please. No, get out of here, you. But my grandma, and like the little soft and sad music starts going. And the guy's just, what about your grandma? And you're like, she doesn't have very long. All right,
Yeah.
guy, but just make it quick. Yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. What are you wearing? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who you talking
Yeah.
to? My grandma.
Yeah.
Dude, give me my fucking phone.
Kind of step away, like, could you please just kind of walk off?
Yeah.
Sorry, where were we?
Yeah, dude,
You're a
rude.
naughty little whore.
Yeah, dude, you're being so rude right now. You interrupted my conversation. This is an
Yeah.
expensive phone call. It's $5 a minute. Do you not understand what I am doing to your phone bill?
Yeah.
If you just shut up, we could cut that time in half. All right, big boy. Fuck off.
There's another $50 right there.
Yeah, in the amount of time
hope
it
you're
told
happy.
me. Yeah, the amount of time it took me to explain for you to please leave. That's $20. All right, now get lost, please.
God damn it. Yeah, see? Oh, brilliant. Yeah, see, this is why I like throwing. See, we can just go from throwing skits at each other to all of a sudden, I don't know if we solved any issues, but we discussed plenty of issues.
Well, we didn't
And-
solve the world's problems, but
Oh, and this was something I was trying to talk to Sid about. Was like all these people
How'd that
online
go?
who like they call it like the intellectual dark web, and it's like the people like they would even count like Joe Rogan among them, like people who are like speaking out about this, like some of the crazy shit going on right now. And it's like on one hand I think it's good to be that and like everyone speak up and not necessarily give in to the mob mentality, but at the same time, isn't it a lot of guys just shouting in their houses or not doing much? Like, I don't know. I feel like we're in like an echo chamber. There's people, good people. Like, there's probably people you listen to or personalities you see on the internet and all that you like and you agree with, and you're like, I think they're saying some good stuff. But are any of them doing anything to change anything? Like, are we doing
Well,
anything? Is just
well-
speaking enough?
and that's what my conversation was with that guy that we had that big blow up fight over Facebook with was about. Well, after I called them up and I was like, yeah, sure, you believe in this and you believe in that, and I don't, each to their own. That's the country we live in. You can believe whatever you want and say whatever you want. And I said, but if you believe in this, so I said, you believe in this, right? He says, yeah. And he was still pissed off at this point. And I say, well, what are you doing about it other than just bitching on Facebook?
Yeah, nothing.
Dead fucking silence. He had nothing. He got pissed off about me just saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Which
well,
is
what
true.
are you doing other than bitching over Facebook? Nothing? Okay. Move on.
Well,
the
it's-
conversation ends there.
Well, and it's like, and that was my thought on like, they did that whole Blackout Tuesday on Instagram where everyone put like a black screen. It was for the Black Lives Matter stuff. And my one thing was like, is that all you guys are going to do? Most of you are going to go walk away and say, you're not going to do anything. Yeah, like I contributed. I did this. Like
I
virtue
posted a black
signaling.
picture. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you feel better, but none of them are going to go out and do anything. And in this instance, I would say it's because there's nothing you actually can do. People are like, end racism. Like, hey, go out to the street and show me what that looks like.
Right.
They don't know how to actually do it. It's because it's
Yeah.
not there. But I don't know. In that situation, I don't think there's anything that they could solve even going out into the street. But
I can't. Well, and that's where it gets hard because it's I can't post a picture of women equality and then and just walk away and be like, I fixed it. I
right,
made a difference.
because you probably didn't. I mean, if all you did
No,
was post a
because-
picture, no, you didn't.
Because possibly only 50 people at the most would have seen that.
And like we
And then
just said, you're
furthermore,
not.
it's not a solution.
Well, like we just said, you're not going to change anyone's mind over a keyboard. So
No.
people, like, maybe you think you're making awareness, and maybe that's fine. I don't really care if you post shit. I'm not really saying I give a shit, or even really gave a shit then. That a passing thought is what it was about it all, about what is it actually accomplishing. But you can post whatever the fuck you want, and I think sometimes it's good to raise awareness for things like like currently see a lot of stuff about like human like trafficking and stuff like that, like sex trafficking and all that. It's good to bring up awareness about that, I guess. Like, obviously, I don't know. I personally don't know what I can do about it, like, right now. But,
Well, because we're
I
not
guess-
around it. We don't live in a place that's subject to such inhumane, I don't know
Well-
how to explain that. We just if we ever came across a situation like sex trafficking and we could fix, like we were there and we could do something, we would. You know what I mean? It's like if I came across some chick getting beat up in an alley, I would step in a heartbeat. The only difference is that unless that happens, I can't say that I helped at all.
And maybe, like, when I brought this whole thing up, a lot of what I was kind of what I'm kind of realizing I'm talking about is like out here, for example. It's kind of what we talked about. It's the theme of a lot of this kind of shit is we live out here, so it's different and we have less to worry about. But what about, like, all these voices, like, in the cities and stuff, like, or in the places where they can do something? Like, they could go out and try to, like, have their own protest or do their own stuff like that. They could go out there. For me, walking out the front door, like, there's nothing I can do out here. Everyone's on board. Like, that shit, cancel culture doesn't really happen here. No one's rioting, anything like that. There's nothing I can do to go out and try to change because I'm okay with my surrounding. But for the people that aren't in those areas, is it enough to just sit there and talk behind a microphone? And
Or a keyboard.
yeah, or like, yeah, keep talking. Like, even if you're saying something I believe is reasonable, is that enough? Like Joe Rogan's leaving California. Did he ever go to protests or do anything? Or did he, I don't know, was he voting in his local elections? Like,
he probably voted in, because he, called himself a liberal on a couple of different podcasts and socialist on a couple of other ones. So I feel like he's on I don't feel like he knows what he is exactly. Because if you listen to what he says, he believes in a lot of everything, like most people. I don't think one person in today's day, like around our age or even a little bit older, can actually sit there and say, yeah, I'm a diehard liberal. I believe everything liberal and nothing, anything else.
I don't think
That's
one
just-
should do that anyways, but I don't think most people really are one thing. Like, and maybe
No.
some people are, but I don't think you should be. I think it should be a mixture of things, like, I guess we all have, our different opinions. I like to think that I'm more in the middle. I've tried to. I think that nowadays a lot of stuff has shifted to where I don't think you really can use a label. Because even if you say liberal now, like, there's some people that I get along with more, agree with more, and they tend claim to be like liberal or classical liberals. And then there's others that say they're liberal, but they're like progressives. There's hardcore leftists, and they want to abolish the police, and they want to separate by race again and all that. So there's there's some people, you can't really, there's not categories anymore. Everyone's so different, I guess, which is probably a good thing. I just wish people thought for themselves.
Well, it doesn't seem like a lot of people are, because
They're just spewing back the points on the media.
well, they'll watch either the media, the news, or they'll watch a video from their best, most favorite actor, And then that actor will spill his political views, and then that person will be like, well, I really like this guy and I like his movies, so I'm gonna believe what he believes. Or you know what I mean? Like, I've seen that a time or two. Not a lot, but
some.
definitely a time or two.
I'm sure it has an effect.
Yeah, and at that point, it's like, man, you just really can't think for yourself. I want to be like, if I told you to shoot yourself in the forehead, will you? Well, no. Well, there you go. You can think for yourself, so, do it.
Apply that to everybody else.
Apply that to other situations other than me telling you to kill yourself,
Celebrities, politicians, all of them, do the critical thinking thing for yourself.
Well, and then that's the other subject. I shouldn't say should, because obviously this is a free country. They can do whatever they want. But what do you think about celebrities voicing their political opinions? It, to me, just seems like a platform for them to try to sway those that are not thinking for themselves.
Probably, and that's just why people should think for themselves. Here's my thing, is they're people, and they're going to say their thing. And unfortunately, their line of work puts them in a spotlight for all of us to see, right?
Exactly.
So it's like you have the freedom to say what you want to say. And I guess if you end up being that guy that gets up and like accepts an award and has a microphone in front of him and decides to, now's the moment to spew something out, I guess you're just that guy, and I guess we're going to have to listen to it. The hard part is what people do with that information.
Right.
Because, if they believe that and that they're saying the same thing that the mainstream media is saying, then it leads maybe some to believe, then that's true, or they just take it verbatim how they say it. They don't do the research. Maybe that celebrity was only kind of right or was mostly wrong. I don't know. Don't just take it with a grain of salt.
Versus factual. Yeah. But see, my point of view on it is that if I'm walking down the street and some guy walks up to me and he's like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm completely, a leftist, and I love Hillary Clinton," I just look at him and be like, "I did not fucking ask you for your opinion."
Right.
So when I was scrolling through Facebook, and there was videos of famous people voicing their political opinions, I wanted to be like, well, that's the same situation.
Someone shouting.
I did not ask you for your opinion. You know what I mean?
Whoa.
Who asked you for your political opinion? Because it wasn't me.
I think that's why some people really liked that Ricky Gervais Golden Globe acceptance speech.
I did.
Where he was telling them all. Yeah, I think most people did, all probably except for the celebrities in that room who all had a fucking note card in their back pocket all about the environment or gun control or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but I did it. I think everyone liked it just because it was come up here, accept your award, and then go sit back down.
Yeah, shut up.
This isn't your platform.
Well, because it's just like when I think it was, and don't quote me on this, but it was somebody famous. I want to say it was Leonardo DiCaprio. Got on stage that couple years ago, and like I said, it might not have been him, but it was somebody famous. Got up there and was talking about how, you need to start worrying about the pollution. You need to start worrying about never mind. About how you need to worry about pollution, and you need to this, and buy electric cars and this and that, and commute to work and this and whatever else. And then after the awards, he got on his private jet and flew back to Hollywood or wherever the fuck he's from.
Right.
And it's like, but you got up there and told and you told the population how you need to worry about the planet. You need to do this. You need to buy electric cars. You need to, get rid of coal energy. And it's like, okay, I could kind of agree with nothing that you said, because I'm not flying in a private jet with just two people on it all the ways back to the, East Coast or West Coast, wherever you're going.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's not like that for me. I get in my truck and I drive 3 miles to work, and then I put in a hard 8 hours, and I drive my happy ass 3 miles back to my house, where I then do something.
Yeah, right. Well, it's just that out of touch. I think with celebrities, they just get up there, and I think after a while, they just they just do get out of touch, and then they like start preaching on a level that I think they forget most average people can't really relate to.
Well, and that goes in the same subject to the same idea to the coronavirus thing, where when we were in like full lockdown, Wyoming wasn't, thank God, necessarily, but like big cities were in like full lockdown. And these celebrities were like, this is my time to shine. I'm going to like make a difference. And they were getting on there. I can't remember who the hell her name was, but it was some chick, some blonde chick, I think, like doing like, like a video of herself being like, I know you guys like to, probably like to work out and this and that. And she's like, but you could just work out from home. Like, there's no problem with working out from home. And then I saw like a reality type of video about that chick, and actually a lot of celebrities did this. The only difference is that they have a full YMCA sized gym in their house.
Yeah, right. They're in their pool. We're in this together.
We're in this together, guys. Just work out from home. I know you. It's not hard. It's it's you can do it. They have a gym in their house the size of any rec center you would see.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you dare get up there and preach that bullshit like you're gonna change, like you're making a difference. And you know what? Fuck you.
The weird shit they do, like when the coronavirus first, like the lockdown started happening, and there was like that that hot woman that plays Wonder Woman. It was a Gal Gadot or something like that, and they got all those celebrities to sing Imagine. And there was like all these celebrities. It went from like one celebrity to the next of them singing different parts of that, John Lennon's Imagine. And it's like, what is that supposed to make them feel better? With that, like,
what are you doing?
That's it.
Yeah.
You solved the problem. Everyone who was starving and got unemployed, they were like, well, thank God Wonder Woman sang Imagine to me.
Yeah.
Like, what? I just don't understand the logic behind that shit. I'm like, okay.
Well, and then like
right.
that, there's another very similar thing that a video I saw from another famous chick. It seems like the chicks really took over after this whole coronavirus thing with the whole like supportive fucking you could do anything from home bullshit. I don't know why. Maybe they were like, they were just like, this is my time to shine, and everybody else is like, we don't fucking care. But they didn't hear that message because they don't ever open our messages. But there was another chick that was like, guys, it's not that big of a deal to be locked down in your house. I know it can get boring, and I know it can but we're all in this together. This chick has a fucking like 4-story house, and she's like saying that we're all in this together, and like there's always something to do in your house. I'm like, I can see from one end of my house, every bit of it, to the other end of my house, every bit of the rest. There is not a second story. I could literally, from where I'm sitting, see every bit of my 2-bedroom house. Every fucking piece. And you're sitting there with like at least a solid 3 stories and like 6,000 square foot house telling me that there's always something to do. Hell, if me and my girlfriend get into a fight and I'm like, fuck this, I'm going to the next room, she can still see me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's still a problem. Well, yeah.
It's still a problem.
Masturbated.
Yeah, and I'm in there trying to beat my mate, and she's like, I can see you. And I'm like, I know.
The subtle audience gave me a thrill, and now it's ruined.
Right when you opened your mouth, I just got soft. I don't know.
Well, it's kind of like, oh, shit. Yeah, it's just... like people trying to tell you can.
It's unrelatable.
We're all in this together, but yeah, it's unrelatable. No one understands.
They
that sort of shit.
They need to understand that.
We should have called them on their shit. I should as soon as like Ellen DeGeneres got up there and said was making jokes and all that stuff, and some of the shit she said was genuinely funny, but like just call one of the celebrities on their bluff. Just show up to their house like, hey. You said we're in this together and all that. I'm tested. I'm clean. Can I come live here? You said you wanted to do anything to help, right? Well, here I am.
Yeah, I didn't see you donate me $1,000 because my machine shop took a hard hit when everybody was locked down, and I almost lost a couple of paychecks. Like, can you give me that money that I lost due to this?
Yeah, I saw on Instagram you said you were going to help in any way possible. So here I am.
Here I am.
Yeah. Do you want to help out? They'd be like,
Yeah. And she'd just push a button like right on the side of the door, and like 5 security guys would come out and like fucking put you in a pile driver and smash your head across the concrete. And
But
she'd be
you
like,
said.
yeah, and you'd be crying like a bloody pulp on the concrete, and she's just like, bye, as the door shuts. I'm going back to my 9,000 square foot house and my like 10 bodyguards and my.
She didn't even let me swim in the pool, though.
Yeah. It's 95 degrees out here. That bitch. I got swamp balls.
Goddamn, we went pretty far this one too. Honestly, I know we took that break there, but we managed to, rack up some time. I figure you probably want to be getting going soon to go.
I should. Sorry if this wasn't worth a damn.
Oh no, this is good.
The whole winging it thing. I'm not gonna say it gets to me, but it makes me think like, is what I'm saying actually going to get posted?
Was this 2 hours of horse shit? Did we just
because
listen
of
back to it?
No,
you're gonna.
I don't want you to go back like tomorrow and be like, come home from work and you're like, all right, I'm gonna edit this, and you start listening to it and you get halfway through and you're just like, no.
Yeah, no, and that's what I don't want. And that's one of those things where it's like, I think I worry about that when it's happening. I worry. I'm like, am I doing good? I don't know if I'm doing good. I've relaxed more these days than first starting it, but still, I do have that thought in the back of my head. But so in my experience, typically going back and looking at it, any touch-up edits I need to make, it always ends up working out pretty good. Like, it ends up better than I fear at the very least, for the most part. And so in this case, and anymore, I've been kind of winging it too. Like, I've not been doing notes as much because they've kind of gotten to the point where they kind of hold me back a little bit. Like, I know people want to know what's going to be talked about. They want to expect it, but at the same time,
you have an agenda at that point almost.
Yeah, but I almost anymore just want to go and winging it and just tell them, just as long as you're yourself, you're going to be fine. And I think most people always do fine. So in this case, I wanted to just do some. Oh no, what are you doing? What are you doing? Olive juice too. What?
Wait, what? Nothing. Yeah.
God damn it.
I'm getting tired. I'm getting a little droopy in the eye. Like, I'm tired, but I was going to cut it short. What was tripping me out is that my TV's on right there, and it's just that, like, display screen, and it says 8:08, and I was like, oh, shit, what the fuck? And then I look at the tablet, and it's like 9:08, and I'm like, huh. Wait, what's right? Did you see me earlier? I, looked over there, looked down, and then I pulled out my phone and was like, oh, no, it's actually 9:09. Okay.
No, it is actually, yeah. No, I was looking at that too, and I was looking at the recording time. And like I said, I know we dinked around a little bit in the very beginning, I want to say, but and then we took that break, but we're about 2 hours, 40 minutes. We're about where we were at last time too. And that was scripted.
Well, and I know that there's
notes.
I know that there's some stuff that needs to be cut out, oh shit, I almost just dumped my beer everywhere. Like you said at the beginning, we were just kind of like, so this is that, and this is what we're gonna do or whatever else, but that was only 10 minutes, and then I think, okay, so we're at 2 hours 45 minutes or whatever. I feel like after you get done editing it, it's gonna be every bit of 2 hours 30 minutes, or well, no, because of the break you took, we did take that good at least a 10-minute break. I'd say we'd. But I'll be adding shit to it. Somewhere close to 2 hours 15 minutes without the adding that you did, or something. I don't know. I feel like most of it was useful. I know that some of it was a little bit crude and whatnot, but fuck it. If people don't like it, if they don't have a sense of humor, that ain't my fucking fault. I'm just, like you said earlier, it's like I'm not gonna accommodate to the fucking lowest comedian spectrum just because there might be a liberal listening. Hey,
and if you got a good sense of humor, no matter what you are, you can have a good time. But I am gonna make joke. I'm gonna say shit I probably shouldn't say. I made a joke about fucking your dad in drag. So,
yeah, and I made a joke about Jesus Christ, being a myth because him and his friends took a bunch of LSD and thought it'd be funny to sit around and write a book.
yeah. So we went there. Let's end this off with. Do you have a couple or one skit you want to end with since we started out this way?
Should we end in like a wait a second? Should we end it with like an actual verbal skit, like the old Cheech and Chong style?
Oh, I would need more planning for that. You give me too much credit.
No. We're gonna think of something on the spot right now that we could possibly end with.
Let's just come up with a. Let's come up with our own skits, and we'll just pitch it like we were pitching earlier. But we'll pitch some good skits. Like, okay, I had one where I thought someone takes shrooms for the first time, and they're like, oh, and they think they're gonna trip for a second, like, then they kind of go like, oh, well, that wasn't anything, and then it just shows them living their whole life, and it's like this big montage of them getting married, having kids, getting old, and they're talking to their grandson, and they're just like, yep, and it's been a interesting life I've had and all that, and then the fucking grandkid just puts his hand on your hand. He's like, Grandpa, you're still tripping, and it's like it goes back to that moment when you took those shrooms. You're like, oh shit, that was all just a trip.
That's hilarious. That'd be trippy as shit. It's like right when the kid touches you and like says that, it's like that whole like what, and then like throws you back into reality. That's kind of exactly. Kids don't do drugs, but that's kind of similar as to what it is. Yeah, sometimes that's more of like a DMT type of thing. You could
probably. Yeah, we have to go consult the professionals.
Yeah, you can go consult the professional DMT user Joe Rogan for that one, and I'm sure he won't deny it. Well, True. Okay. Well, I don't have a. So I've got one, and it's a guy. It's a guy in a meeting. Okay, and there's like at least 15, 20 people in the room, and this guy's like, he leans over on a fart, and, he shits himself. Pretty good. It's a nasty one, and all his coworkers are like looking around, like, because it all hit their nose at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they're all looking around, and they're like, "Oh my god! Like, what's that smell?" And then the guy that farted, is like getting in on it too because he doesn't want to be, blamed for it. So he's like, "Oh, that smells horrible, man! What's going on?"
Yeah. And
he's like, "You know what? I bet something like a mouse died in the air vent right above us, and the air's, so I'll go talk to the maintenance guy." And he gets up, and when he leaves the room, he's got a big old shit stain on the back of his khakis. He's just he's like, yeah, I'll go talk to the maintenance guy. We got to get this fixed. And he just like leaves. That was like his excuse to go try to wipe his fucking shit stained ass or something.
It's fucking just soaked through, and it looks like a full diaper on a kid. It's just fucking this shit sagging down in his pants.
Up the back and everything too. Yeah. But the guy's like, I bet a mouse died in the vent up there. I'll go talk to the maintenance guy or something. And he
plays
just, like,
so
gets
cool.
Up, and he just walks out, and there's a big old shit stain on his khakis.
That would be fucking good. Yeah. See, we got some good ones. I had some fast one, or let me see what. Oh, I had some fast-paced one. It was like a quick one in between, but it was like a thief breaks into a house to like rob it, but they're having an orgy, and he like gives them a lecture. He's like, "Oh,
you guys are sick."
And he's like pissed off.
Sex is sacred. Yeah. Do you not know that you're sinning right now? God would not love you. Yeah, how are you gonna get saved?
Yeah, he's fucking yelling this shit as he's putting the door back on the hinges, and he's like,
"Yeah,
you fucking make me." And he just slams the door, opens it again. Fucking perverts. Where's your moral compass? And slams the door.
Oh my god. And then he just goes down to the next house and busts it in. And there's just two people having sex. And he's like, that's better. Like, I can actually rob these people. Yeah.
Fucking shoots them.
See, he shoots them. He's like, thank God these guys had morals. And just
Yeah.
starts rummaging through the fucking jewelry box or something.
yeah. That was one of those ones weirdly where like I told you I had Amanda walking with me, and I was just having her jot down ideas while we were thinking of them, and I just saw all these houses, and I was like, I wonder what you'd walk into, and that spiraled into that. Although I'm sure you could spin that in any other way. Like, what would you walk into?
Oh, well, no, I feel like that's a very good approach to it because it could be like almost anything you want. Like you could walk in and there's a chick with a strap on, like fucking a dude or something, and you're just
She's got the strap on her forehead, and she's fucking him.
Yeah, and you're just like, what the flying fuck? You know, like, and he gets offended because he interrupted your, you know, sex or something, you know? I feel like that's a very good approach to something like that because like, what else would you do? You bust down a door and there's just a bunch of Mormons sitting there eating their dinner with their 12 children. You know what I mean?
I don't know
what's funny about that, you know?
Yeah, that's just sad. While you were talking about that, and I offered the dildo on the forehead, I don't know why now I'm fascinated with the idea of a guy just like on his hands and knees, right? He's on a bed, and the girl's like on her knees on the floor, and she's just like got a forehead or a dildo strapped to her forehead, and it's just this big old thing, and she's like, it's called like the rhinoceros, and she just goes at it but kisses the back of your balls as she gets in there. She's just like mwah, mwah.
And then that's when the guy walks in. Oh, I'm gonna steal so much shit. What the fuck? Yeah, and just, you guys are nasty, fucking perverts. And he whacks both of them across the head with a big old dildo and knocks them out. And he's just like, he's still disgusted, like, ugh, ugh. And he just like leaves the room. Like,
I might have to involve the rhinoceros in the skit because I really like that idea.
Please do. Kiss those balls, baby.
The guy breaks in, and the guy looks over first at him, and it's just, you know, a head turning. And then the girl,
he's ashamed of himself, though. He's so ashamed when the guy turns around and looks at and sees the robber. He's just like, oh God, you know, like
the girl, she looks over, and the fucking dildo kind of shakes as she's all looking all pissed. She's like,
"What are you doing in here?"
he likes the pegging. Get off his ass.
Yeah, he like it. And the guy's like, the robber's like, he doesn't look like he likes it. The guy's crying. He's all red in the face. Oh God, like, did you come to save me? Yeah, he likes it. Get out of here. That chick gets up and tries to chase him out of the room, and that dildo's just swinging back and forth on her forehead.
Still swinging. It's still a little damp from the lube.
I wouldn't say damp, but maybe shit covered. But there's shit flying off of it, and the robber says, "Oh, gross! Just stay over there. I'll leave. Just don't come any further."
It dripped on the front of your lip.
Yeah, get out of it. Oh God.
I liked that. That one got better with our discussion. I didn't know if you wanted to share any more, but I'm glad I shared.
Way more crude after we started talking about it. But you know what? If something that's already fucked up doesn't get more fucked up after a conversation, it's not fucked up. Okay?
It wasn't good. It's not my kind of conversation.
It's not my kind of fucked up. Let me see here. I'm running almost out of idea. I think I got a couple more sheets of paper in there, but
right. Well,
so there's the liquid courage.
Oh, is that your coffee one we talked about before? Or no. That's
no, that's the old liquid. You know how they call like whiskey or, you know, vodka or something, like, or even anything alcohol, like liquid courage.
Yeah.
Well, it is what you think it is until it's not, right? So there's a couple of his friends sitting at a bar, and he's like, you know what I've always wanted to do? I've always wanted to make amends with my ex-girlfriend. And his friends are like, dude, I think you should do it. And then, you know, the bartender's like, well, what are you guys having? And the guy's like, oh, I'll take some liquid courage. And then the one friend's like, well, why do they call it that? And they're like, just have a beer and you'll understand. So he drinks that one beer of liquid courage. And then all of a sudden he's like, you know what? I'm going to go talk to her. I'm going to go do it right now. And then he leaves, and he comes back like soaked in blood or something. And his friends are like, dude, what the fuck? And he's like, dude, that beer like literally gave me the courage to go do what I've always wanted to do. And they're like, dude, we thought you were going to like go talk to her or something. He's like, nah.
Nah. Oh my god.
Yeah. So I don't know, like you could take that in many, many different ways. That was just off the top of my head because all I have written down is liquid courage. Why do they call it that? That's like all I have written down. But like the whole idea of it is that you take something that you've always wanted to do, and then you
the
put
liquid
a twist
courage
on
is
it.
like an exaggeration of
Yes,
giving you
exactly.
yeah.
Like instead of going and getting, closure with your ex-girlfriend after drinking some, quotes, liquid courage, you just go and kill her, or like
You go and get the rhinoceros.
or like you're like, I've always wanted to be a millionaire. And then you drink some liquid courage, and then you show back up to your friends with like money bags. And they're like, dude, you weren't shitting, like you really did want to become a millionaire. And he's like, yeah, dude, I fucking shot 5 people in order to rob that bank, but by God, I'm a millionaire now.
Yeah.
Or,
Dreams do come true.
dreams do come true. I worked hard for this.
It's all inspirational.
Yeah, it's all inspirational or something. But it's like you could take anything that might be called a dream and then put a twist on it. Just like I always want to be a millionaire. And then you drink some liquid courage and you go out and rob a bank. And then you're like, I'm a millionaire. Like this, it helped me. My dream came true.
Well, that's why like sometimes, you just gotta like, maybe something's not solid. Maybe you don't have a solid joke yet. You punk ass with your vaping. God damn it.
You know what? Fuck off.
You could have a funny like premise and then just kind of run with it with any joke. I guess like you could just set something like maybe something's there, but you just don't have it worked out quite. That's why I write some of those down. And I'm like, all right, there's something there. Maybe I can just think on it for a bit. And those ones have come up with some funny ones too. We just got to actually do some of these.
Right. There's definitely some easier ones.
Yeah, like because I'm working on currently, which I guess, spoiler alert, I'm working on finally, like I set up what I wanted this first episode to be, and I'm going to do these skits. I got everything ready, so stay tuned, everybody. But get ready for my debut. But
He's gonna have his pants off too, so
Well, one of the skits does involve me posing sexually, so
show up with the lube, friends, because you're gonna need it.
It is gonna be one big old masturbatory fest.
As I've wanted, as I always want. That's what I was always going for.
That was always your dream, buddy. I remember.
That's what I envisioned.
10 years old, and you're always dreaming about posing for strangers. I remember that day that you told me
in
that.
drag specifically.
Specifically, well, because you're not a very pretty looking man, so you got to do something.
I gotta mix it up a bit, and my hair ain't as thick as it was, so now I have even more of a justification for the wigs.
Yeah, you're what we call a sad fuck.
I'm a butterface. I got that badass body, but don't look at my face.
Yeah,
I will hold a bag.
6-pack, maybe an 8-pack abs, but and a gluteus maximus that could squash a walnut. But
yeah.
Other than that, and he's got scars on his booty now too. So
fuck, that's right. Yeah, I've explained to the audience I burnt my ass.
You already did.
I have before. I guess for anyone listening, as we are concluding this episode, yeah, I did. It's healed up nice, by the way. Though it's just some dark purple scars.
Yeah,
it feels like there's slight amounts of nerve damage.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a disclaimer too. Don't drink next to a campfire.
Well, and then don't proceed to push your own ass against it.
Yeah, exactly.
if
Lessons
the
were
options
learned that
out there.
day. 24 years young, and lessons are still being learned.
You never. Every day is a lesson, Dustyn. That's the beautiful message. That's what all this was about.
Yeah,
all this episode was about. Yeah, Even when we were talking about beating people getting
Cannibalism.
molested, killed, Asians, that's what it was all about. This every day is a lesson. Isn't that beautiful?
Doesn't get any prettier than that.
I don't know. I saw your nuts earlier, so
Those are pretty, I know. Freshly shaved.
looked like
Look
two
at-
watermelons in a sack.
Yeah. A horse's screwed after he tugged on him for a while.
Probably anyone's scrotes you tug on them for.
Yeah.
I tied
Shave
him to
him
a
up.
doorknob and I slammed him.
And I slammed that thing. What is that called? The Tijuana tooth pull? Blue Mountain State.
God damn it!
You never watched that?
Probably.
Blue Mountain State?
I think I watched a few episodes with you, and that was about it. I saw that.
Yeah,
what
I
was it,
remember
kind of
watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them, they had like an Oreo between their ass cheeks or something.
Yeah, I think
What was
so.
that?
Yeah. I it's been years since I've seen it, but I remember one. They tied some guys to a chair and then tied a rope around their balls to an open door, and then they'd like if it was like interrogation
fuck.
tactic, and then they'd slam the door shut, and it's called the Tijuana tooth pull. If any of you guys out there want to enlarge in your sack, do the Tijuana tooth pull. Just don't tell anybody that I told you to do so.
Right. That's the second lesson here.
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
Well, shit. You want to end this? At least I'll stop recording. I'll visit with you a little after. We'll say our personal goodbyes.
All right.
It's-
Well, how do you want to end this? You want to do it completely kosher? Like, this is Tanner and this is Dustyn, and this was the Tanner Vance Show.
Thank you for listening to the Tanner Van Show. I don't ever actually do these conclusions, but we're doing it special because Dustin's back, and Dustyn will probably be back again. So
I sure
next
hope so.
time, next time we'll solve problems. We'll sit down and we'll look at problems, and we will give answers to the people. So
Problem
stay tuned.
solvers.
Yes. So I guess we'll just say goodbye, everybody. That's the show.
Goodbye,
out.
peeps.